Welcome to the Reptile Gumbo podcast. This is episode 84. I had to remind myself 2 seconds before we went on because
I knew it was 80 something. That's all I got.
I always just have to log into Apple Podcasts and see what the last one was. I don't have the ability to remember last week.
You know what's awesome though?
Robert's here this week.
Yes. And I don't have to worry about Facebook because, dear God, I do not do well with that. I don't know why it's so complicated for me.
I'm hearing body. I don't know how much I'm hearing mind.
I was like, you're hearing body? What?
You're hearing body.
I thought something was wrong with my microphone.
Did the bodies hit the floor?
I worked 14, 16 hours every day for the last 3 weeks. Except for Saturday was only about 12 hours and Sunday was only about 5 hours.
Because it was your wife's birthday.
Yes. So I am exhausted.
I imagine.
And I have a show this weekend and a show next weekend and a show the weekend after.
Oh.
So
I think the fair, by the way, is in 2 weeks. This has nothing to do with the topic. I just remembered it.
Yeah.
The weekend that they're in shirts, there's a fair.
Do you think that they will have a bucket of fries?
I don't know. I know that there's a lot of the kids at our school do for
yeah, it is that time of year.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's actually pretty nice.
If
it had been earlier, I would sign up and vend it with all of the
signs,
the wooden flags and signs and whole boards and all that shit.
Yeah, our old fair had a bucket of fries. It was my favorite thing to get.
He and Joe would get one.
Big old
what? I mean, it's just fries. What's the difference?
But it's in a bucket.
Giant bucket of fries.
I mean, I could do that for you.
Yeah, but your bucket doesn't say bucket of fries.
Sure, it could.
I can put some vinyl on the outside of it.
I have the technology.
That sounds like the perfect Christmas gift, Robert. You
Boom.
should get James bucket.
It's not the same.
That says bucket o' fries.
It's not the same as being on the midway at a fair.
Not. That's like a funnel cake.
Oh,
it's not as good.
No one ever wants to eat a funnel cake outside of a fair.
There's a place by the shop I saw a new breach today. It's nothing but funnel cakes.
Oh.
They have like 50 different kinds of funnel cakes, but I'm like,
sold.
I'm like, you know,
chicken on a stick all day.
Yeah.
Chicken on a stick.
You realize it's just a chicken tender with a stick shoved.
No, it's so much better than regular chicken.
Something about fair.
It's the fair. It's the grease. It's the grease that hasn't been cleaned in who knows how long.
Right,
and
it has all the flavor.
Yeah.
You're like, am I eating a fish stick?
Or chicken?
Or
this is some sort of meat on a stick.
Because this has nothing to do with reptiles. Thank you, James, for this lovely rant.
More meats in a cone.
I'll take meats in a cone. What is that from?
That's from There's Something About Mary.
That's right. More meats in a cone. There should be more meats in a cone.
Yeah.
You do it in a big waffle, like a French fry cone, and you can eat the cone with the meat.
You know a movie I was watching right before I came here that I haven't seen in years?
No, I don't.
Boiler Room.
I've never seen it.
It's a great movie.
Never seen it.
Anyway.
Katie, you want to do our sponsors?
Yes, my phone reminded. I do have it pulled up. Do you know why? Because my phone reminded me to open it at 5 minutes before we started.
Nathaniel Holcomb said it's like New York street hot dogs. They're in the same water all day. Yeah, that water. Good, that water makes them taste good.
All right. So if you're looking for a high quality PVC rack, look no further than Lone Star Reptile Racks. They offer a variety of sizes for all types of snakes, geckos, rats, and more. You can even order something custom. Shipping is available, or you can pick up at a Herbst Reptile show near you. Visit lsreptileracks.com to reach out to Lone Star Reptile Racks and place your order today.
Also, if you're in the southeast Alabama area or southwest Georgia or North Florida, either way, go visit our friends over at Wiregrass Exotics in Ozark, Alabama. You can go see the Ruas. Check out their awesome reptile pet store and hots. They have venomous snakes there. So go over there, check out their stuff. Tell them we said hi because we haven't been able to make it over there yet. I feel bad.
Oh.
School got in the way, and now it's just school.
That's pretty much what I live for.
This morning at 11 o'clock, our friends, sponsor opened.
Our other
I haven't got to that one yet.
Yeah.
Leave them.
We're doing it now.
So our other sponsor, Herbst Reptile Shows, which I should probably have those dates pulled up, but I know somebody's got them on their phone, right?
Yeah, correct.
So if you need a high quality animal, not just a rack, although you could get a rack there because Robert will be at all the shows. You go to the Herbst Reptile Shows. I know that our next one is this weekend in Beaumont.
Correct.
Texas. Well, you'll be able to order Rex. They'll refer you to me. It's not necessarily ordering them from the store. But yeah.
We'll get to the store in a second. The shows.
You got Beaumont. And then Temple, Texas, which is October 23rd and 24th. Amarillo is Halloween weekend.
I'm just the show's okay. I'm
The
just
show's
thinking
fine.
about
It's
the
just
damn drive.
drive.
For someone that's on that side of Texas, it's not bad.
No.
But
Right.
we're on the opposite end of Texas.
Right.
699 miles.
It's a straight day's drive.
It is.
Mhm.
And you hit a point where there's just fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like if you don't get gas or
Windmills.
food, you're screwed.
Well,
It's in West Texas, right?
yeah,
Northwest Texas.
almost a pain.
We read a book in our class about West Texas and how a giant fell from the sky and squashed all the mountains. And that's why West Texas is flat. Just going to throw that out there.
Probably not correct.
It's
I
not.
don't think that's factual.
But
I might
well,
want to fact check that.
he stole someone's barbecue book because he wanted barbecue. And then the child of
Ooh,
that,
you know what, James? I get to have the barbecue place that
Oh,
we
that
ate at.
barbecue place is
they
good up
they
there.
got the barbecue book back. Anyways.
And then we have Lafayette.
Then we have
Oh,
Lafayette,
so Lafayette.
which is like the best,
What's the date?
some of the
What's the
best food ever.
Dates here, folks.
November 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th. Okay.
And then that's it in November.
And we have 2 in December.
We have 2 in December. The first weekend of December is Austin. The second
Oh,
week-
that's it. And that's at a new venue. So if you've been to the Austin show before and you've been to the old venue,
Hopefully our guest is still
All
there.
I was about to
Our guest is still there.
say,
We're-
our guest
we're
is
back.
there.
Like I said, anybody watching live, you missed our conversation, but you can listen to the podcast for the last 3 seconds, 3 minutes as we talked about nothing.
And I'm gonna call AT&T and figure out
Figure out
why
why
our
we get
internet
this
keeps
message.
messing up.
Yeah, it's annoying. We pay too much for
We
really
actually
does.
pay less here than we did in Louisiana, but we pay money. It
Too
should
much.
not mess up.
Anyways, speaking of Herp's Reptile shows, today was the opening day of Herp's Reptile Shop in Bryan, Texas.
Yep.
I'm excited.
I went there this weekend for the first time. And so our buddy Sean Gray and Lori and James Bergoli, who's the manager of the place,
And Peyton
and Peyton
and the girl
and the girls and any number of other people that have helped him with
Yeah.
that.
tons of
place.
people.
That is an amazing pet store. If you were anywhere near Bryan, College Station, in that area, you definitely need to go check it out. It opened up today. The grand opening is November 13th.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right, right?
Yes,
Right.
that's correct.
November 13th. But if you can make it anytime in between there, they have thermostats, which you can't find anywhere. I was not amazed. Their first sale today was thermostat and like a heat pad.
Was it?
Not surprised because thermostats are hard to get, and someone got that. But they also have the frozen feeders there. Tons of animals Sean's great. He's getting the animals from the Herp shows, from the vendors. So you're getting really high quality animals there. He's hand picking them from the shows. There's these awesome tortoise enclosures along the front window that
Mhm.
somebody made and put in
Yeah,
there.
there's 9 of them in there.
With two of them had blue tongue skinks in them,
One of them had bearded dragon.
bearded dragons. There were little some little Asian box turtle in there.
Mhm.
It was really cool.
Oh, that's cute.
It was. But I got to go see it the other day for the first time. We went over there and took some stuff to him. And I'm telling you, it's one of the best pet stores. I know it's just a reptile store, but pet stores I've been in.
I'm excited to be able to go and check it out. I haven't been yet.
It is great. So,
I'm excited.
Everyone should go check it out.
Look, everybody says when we froze up, we were gone, but our sponsors were still scrolling across the bottom.
Oh,
They
good.
were.
See, their money is spent well. All right. I think that is it. Oh, wait. Before we bring our guests, I do want to hit on make sure you get over to the Facebook page. You've got 3 days left to get in on our giveaway for this month again, which that is
2 days, Wednesday
days.
and Thursday. Friday is October 1st.
yes, you get till Thursday. So that is our VivTech light bulbs,
And then
VivTech LED UVB light bulbs that run about $80 a piece because they run for almost 4 years without having to change them out. So get over there. All you have to do is comment on the post that is pinned at the top of our Facebook page. I think the question is, what does keeping reptiles mean to you? There's been some great answers. A lot of other answers have had to do with mental health. A lot of people keeping reptiles for mental health.
You've said that before.
It does help. It definitely does help.
I've used them in my classroom before for that reason. When I worked at a low income, high poverty school.
Yeah.
My kids would be having a bad day, and instead of going to PE right off, they would hang out with me for like 10 minutes. And that's what they would do is I would be like, all right, pick one. And I had a bearded dragon, a leopard gecko.
Yeah.
We had isopods. We had a corn snake, and they would pick something and they would sit and handle it for 5-10 minutes. And then it was like suddenly everything was right in their world, and their whole day turned around.
We'll go through a couple of those next week when we announce the winner on the podcast. But you've got until Thursday to go over there and comment. All you can do is comment, tell us what Keyword Reptiles means to you, and you can win 2 VivTech light bulbs of your choice.
I mean, I can't win the light bulbs, so somebody else go.
Yeah, we can't win them. So you can win them and enjoy them. And
Sean had those in the store too.
he did. He had some VivTech light bulbs in the store.
Mm-hmm. His
So-
Reptile Chip.
The Reptile Chip is over there. Success and more dirt from the
Mhm.
Samsons, from our buddies the Samsons over there.
I'm
It's-
actually working on a display for Reptile Chip.
Yeah.
For
For shows, for vendors,
yeah, and for
for the
stores,
shop. Yeah.
shops.
It's going to that show is like a miniature herp show. Like we went over there the other day. It was funny. We went the other day. It was me, you, and the Samsons, who are 3 herp
Brittany
vendors,
Patchett.
and Brittany Patchett. But we were three vendors who all live within like a mile of each other.
Yeah.
And then
We
Brittany
got there within a few minutes of each other,
Yeah.
so they could have only been.
hilarious.
They could have only been. I mean, like right ahead of us the
I
whole
wasn't
way.
there with you guys that day, but
And
that's really
Brittany
funny.
Patchett was getting spider set up. Although apparently I missed the part where Sean had a spider come out and run across his hand and freak him out, and he may have thrown it across the room. But it's fine. Everything is fine.
I'm gonna need that.
Sean's like me.
story.
I'm like,
Oh, he'll straight up tell you he
Yeah.
loves them
Yes.
inside of their
Yeah,
cage.
yeah.
Me too.
No, it hit his hand, and it was a completely different story
yep.
from what I am told.
I'm gonna need that story.
I'm gonna need them to put some cameras up in there so that when stuff like that happens, it's recorded and we can all laugh at it later.
Use that camera that Robert just got.
There we go.
That's what
Those
we
things
need.
are $30 a piece.
They're awesome.
They're all amazing.
All right, so let's go ahead and bring our guest in now that we've rambled enough about our sponsors. Pull her up. There we go. It's Adeline Robinson.
Hey,
Adeline Robinson Art.
Yay.
how's it going? Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
We I don't know, I assume the first time y'all met her was Conroe this year.
Correct.
So this is Conroe, where I watched you in person do an amazing drawing that you ended up finishing. I think it's the one I posted on our little thing today that said
Mhm.
we're gonna be live of the what was it? Some little viper.
Yeah, the blue Insularis.
Yeah, Ancillars. That thing was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You did that, and you did the well, Saturday you did an indigo, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that
that's
went into the-
to go for the auction.
Yeah, that thing was amazing too. It's some of the best reptile art I've ever seen.
And wasn't your reptile art on the shirts for the NARBC in Arlington?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to be doing some of the designs on the shirts, which I'm just super stoked about. So yeah, that's me.
What is that like seeing a bunch of people walking around in shirts that have your art on them? Because like I'm not even an artist, and that's really freaking cool. James, are you freaking kidding me right now?
I tried to be quiet. They couldn't help the soda.
No.
It's a soda, guys. It's not beer. I promise.
Oh my gosh. Anyways,
Even if it was,
Like-
who cares?
like I'm not an artist, but that would still be so cool to see.
It's super surreal. I get so excited, and it still like surprises me too, because it's funny because I'll do logos and I'll do banners and I'll do stuff that I am making for people to have up at shows, and still every time I run into it or see it, I get so happy to actually see it like in person and like in physical form. It's a lot of fun. I get really excited every time I see like a
That's so
shirt or
cool.
something.
I get excited for you, and I haven't even known you that long, and I'm excited for you. Like
Well, the one thing that was really cool was I saw. So you put up an auction item at the NARBC Arlington show. It was a bottle of whiskey,
it was.
and I
so
remember
cool.
seeing the bottle of whiskey posted several days prior, and you were like, "Hey, what should I put on this?"
Mhm.
And then I saw it when you finished it. You painted both sides. What did you? I can't remember what you put on both sides of it though.
It was a horny toad, wasn't it, or a horn
Yeah.
lizard?
on the
Oh,
front.
horny toad.
Yep, and then I did. I believe it was I can't remember now if it was an Eastern or Western. I
I was
did
gonna say, it was a rattlesnake.
I bet it was a Western.
a Western, I think. Yeah, I'm like
But-
because I remember I was bouncing back and forth. Because there's so many really good suggestions that I was looking through and like going through all the comments and the reference photos. So I remember kind of tossing up those two for a while. But yeah, that was fun.
And it did pretty well. It went for like $3,000, right?
Yeah, $3,001.
And $1. That's right, 2001.
I couldn't believe it. I was really excited about that.
That is awesome. Yeah, that looked really great. I've seen, and we talked about it at Conroe. There's kind of two ways that you can see reptile art. You can either see like the old school, because we're talking about like tattoos. We're talking about the old school like way that people draw snakes, the old tattoo way, or the super surreal way, which is how you do it. And I love, like, it's different because you're a reptile person. You're not an artist just drawing reptiles. So you actually have an idea of what it should look like. Because I've seen so many where it doesn't look right if you're a reptile person.
I feel like it's like that with any niche, like type of animal, or I guess like type of thing that you're into. Because I'm a horse person as well, and there's a lot of that where like I'll see quite often artists won't look at a reference and it'll look like a completely different animal. You know, horses, snakes, just a lot of creatures seem to kind of have that happen to them, unfortunately. So I try to be as anatomically correct as possible, even if it's stylized.
In both of those, right. It's muscle tone in both, especially horses. Like there's a certain muscle tone to a horse to make it look good, and it's a certain way for a snake to stay coiled up or for something to be shaped to make it look right. The way they move,
you know, it's super important. Their anatomy is incredibly important for just the way they move, the way they operate, and the way they live. So, yeah, references.
What is your favorite type of reptile? I mean, do you prefer drawing snakes? Because I saw you have a lot of snakes, but I mean, or do you prefer lizards? I think you have the one with the alligator and.
I have, I notice I tend to gravitate towards species that I'm most excited about. So my top kind of 3 categories, I suppose, when it comes to reptiles, I really enjoy the venomous. A lot of really cool snakes, you know, the heliodormas I think are just super cool. They're just neat. They're very unique looking. I'm into crocodilians as well. I think they also have kind of different traits and a uniqueness about them, and just like an ancient like presence to them, which I think is fascinating. And monitors are just super close to my heart, and so like I'd be drawing monitors all day.
Monitors allow for like
diversify my portfolio a little bit. So
monitors allow for facial expression, whereas like snakes don't really allow for facial expression, but monitors, they think, and they allow for that.
Like, you know, when you're getting like a stare down from a monitor, or like the backwards glare, or you know, they really do have so much personality to them. That's what cracks me up.
So do you keep any reptiles currently?
I do, yeah. I've got blue tree monitors. I started working on getting basically a collection of tree monitors. I breed gargoyle geckos, and I slimmed down my collection significantly. I downsized just because I'm traveling so much at the shows now, but I've also got some of my like retired educational show animals I used to do birthday parties and educational shows with. So not a whole lot now, but I'm just trying to focus, I guess, on like fewer projects, but put more into them. So
are you trying to focus on like breeding projects, or just projects of animals you like and you want to set up and have?
Oh, breeding projects.
I remember the first blue tree monitors I saw was Daytona in like 2005, thinking that's an insanely blue lizard.
Yeah, it's nuts how bright they are. And I almost feel weird taking photos of them sometimes because they're so bright in the photo without it being doctored or anything. And I look at the photo, I'm like, do I need to tone it down? Because it almost looks like I, hit the saturation really high or something on them. But yeah, I've got a pair of blues that, are just absolutely wonderful. Initially, when I was going to downsize, I was like, oh man, I need to, really go smaller. And I can't bring myself to like ever get rid of those guys because they're just too amazing.
I'd love to get monitors. I just don't have the time. I know it takes a lot of time with those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. Is I used to always keep snakes. I started out primarily with snakes, and I was like, oh, they're just so easy. You can go away for the weekend or something and not have to worry about it. And then I ended up getting into the monitors now, and I'm like, yeah, it's quite a bit more work, but it's worth it with them.
I'm assuming you have some sort of support at home though, because you were down here in Conroe, and then you went to Arlington. And that was all without ever going home.
Yeah, that was a long trip. Thankfully, I've got some wonderful helpers at home. My boyfriend's brother, he lives with us, and so he helps out. And then the pet store that I work really closely with, there's a couple girls that'll come over sometimes too to give me a hand with them when I'm out of town, which I'm super grateful for because it's hard to find folks that can do that.
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with like really weird species or they're finicky. The female didn't want to eat today, or you just never know.
Well, and reptiles are tricky. It's not like having someone go over and feed your dog. Like that's a very basic thing. Take my dog outside, feed my dog, we're good.
Yeah.
But like to trust someone to open a cage just to get a water bowl is a completely different thing. Like, I mean, think you've got Robert. Y'all have the Blue Beauty. Like, not just anybody can open that tank and get the water bowl out.
No, yeah, I'm one that doesn't anymore.
That happened. I felt
he doesn't
so bad.
like you.
I had one friend come over, and she was taking care of everything, and one of my black tree monitors got out while she was opening the cage and messing, and trying to feed them and water them. And I felt so bad for her. She's video calling me while I'm at like a hotel several states away, like with a bucket and like a fish net, and she's like trying to catch it while it's like under my bed. And yeah, not the easiest. Of course they're not slow animals. They're quick.
And they have sharp claws.
It was crazy last night. We fed him, and he was in that log. So he could, if you open the door, he's right there, and he could smell the rat already. So Rachel put it in the hide, in the venom-proof cage in the hide thing. So I was like, well, just put it in there and then use your hook to guide the rat out to where he's at, because he will not take frozen. He will not take pre-killed, nothing. Dude, she put that rat in that door. He caught it inside the hide and wrapped it up inside the hide and ate it inside the hide. He's nuts, man. But he's going to the show with us this weekend. Well, because you're going to come help her get him out.
Shit. Awesome. How about we just get the baby one that you want?
I think they're both going.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I'll get the baby one. You get the big one.
Yeah, I'll get the racks.
Y'all are funny.
Oh. So, Adeline, are you doing I know Venom Fest is coming up soon, and you do a lot of venomous snakes in your pictures and all. Are you doing Venom Fest?
I would if I could. I went to the last one, and I had a blast. I had a really wonderful time. I really want to go to this one, but I have barely been home for a week, and I need to prepare for Tinley as well. And so I've got a lot, since I've been on the road just for so long, I've got a lot of client work that I want to get finished up, and I want to get some more personal pieces done before the show if I can. So just kind of playing catch up. I really want to go so badly though.
Tinley's in like 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the following weekend.
That's the first one back. It's going to be at Tinley, right? It's not the one going to Schaumburg.
Straight up, Tinley's back. We haven't had a show since the 2019 October one.
Yes, that was our first.
That was the one we went to.
That was our very first Tinley. Was that one?
No way.
It was his anniversary gift that year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Like John Grant says he'll come get him out.
John Grant doesn't mind getting
John
bit.
Grant. I was just about to say the same thing.
I'm not all for getting bit.
Especially not by that dude.
Oh, I don't know if the Blue Beauty would actually bite.
I don't think he will.
I think it's all bluff. Yeah,
it works.
He'll hit you. Oh, it's scary. He's a scary snake.
Yeah.
For anybody that's never dealt with like Asian rat snakes, they're fucking scary.
Yeah, he's every bit of 7.
Now I say he won't bite. I've dealt with red-tailed green rat snakes, and they will fucking bite.
Yeah,
they 100%.
The good thing
come
is
at you.
He's going to go visit his former owner, longtime owner, this weekend because it's Kevin's birthday. So Kevin will probably carry him around all weekend.
That'd be cool.
So it'll be a nice reset for him, and then Rachel can start working with him again.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be more of a thought process in Asian rat snakes than there is in like American rat snakes.
When he's looking at you, it's like he's
They're
looking
just so
for his
smart.
angle. Like he's always looking for an angle.
Yeah.
And yeah. The other night I was putting the new camera up in the dining room and to cover the back door, and the boa that's on top in that cage I was putting on top of that cage, and she's kind of curl, laying how they lay. And I reached up, dude. She hit that fucking glass.
Oh, I would have fallen.
Boom!
I would
I'm
have,
like, holy shit!
I would have
Like,
fallen.
I never saw her. Like, I didn't even realize she saw me there.
Oh yeah.
And man, I'm like, okay, you're hungry. We get it. We'll feed you.
I've had that happen a couple times, and all I can think is one of these days they're going to hit it hard enough they're going to knock the plexiglass out.
She nailed it. But normally you could just reach in there and you've gotten her out numerous times.
Yeah.
But not right now while she's hungry.
You know what it is? It's because you feed them in the cage. You're supposed to take them out, put them in a
that's what it
separate
is.
box, and then feed. I'm just kidding. Anybody listening, please don't do that when you feed your snakes.
Could you imagine feeding 100+ snakes
In separate containers?
It's insane. I know a corn snake breeder that does it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
He talks about it all the time. Every time somebody talks about it on corn snake groups, and he's a pretty prolific corn snake breeder.
Good for him. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
I also don't find it necessary.
Yeah. No shit. Me either.
I mean, I've got some snakes that are very food aggressive, like my pine snake.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we'll get back to Adeline. I promise. We get this. This
They're
is
on a
this is our podcast.
tangent
We
this
jump
It's
week.
around.
all good. I'm all here. I'm listening.
I was listening to the Colubrid and Colubroid new podcast, and they were talking to. I should definitely have looked up her name, but she did pits, Pitiophis, bull snakes, pine snakes, and she started talking about Louisiana pine snakes and talking about attitude and how most of them have a lot of attitude.
Yours are the freak of nature, James.
I think
That's
everybody's
why.
doing it wrong because Joe had them, our friend Joe Phelan had them, and they would always try and bite them. I have 2 of them, and I worked with a bunch at the zoo, and I've never had one. Like, that's where I talk about like being food aggressive. Like the other night, last night I was feeding, I threw a chunk 2 mice in with my pine snake in the tub, and it went past him, and then he came out at me. And the problem is when he's in food mode, he doesn't see a person. I'm just a giant rat, apparently.
Yes, yeah.
And so I just have to like push him back in with the hook and eat. But I guarantee I could go in there right now, open the tub, and pick him up just fine because he's not in food mode.
Yeah.
So like,
Unless you had food in the room, in which case he would switch over very quickly.
like the little one I took it out the other night, it didn't strike nothing. I don't know. But there's definitely I've just never seen the need.
Jennifer Joseph.
She was very, like I said, she was very, and I feel bad because I probably should know more because she seemed like she was someone I should
I'm
know.
gonna have to listen to this. Who does the show? Zach and Matt.
Yeah. It's a really good show. Colubrid and Colubroid podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What is a colubroid?
So hold on. I remember they explained this in the first episode, and I
Oh.
should remember.
So I need to go listen to the episode to learn what it is. I'm cool with that response.
Yeah, they're like, I think bull snakes, like that, they're a colubroid. Or
Oh, that's
cool. Drymarchon, I think, counts as a colubroid.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I named it indigos.
Okay,
There
I got you.
Okay.
I know what that is.
So someone out there right now is like, he's totally fucking wrong, and I probably am. I own a handful of them. I don't know.
What is Joe's new podcast called?
That is Corn Stars.
Corn.
That's Joe
Sorry.
Phelan.
That's a good podcast name.
That's the one with Justin and Joe.
That's fabulous.
Corn Stars. I think they have a second. I haven't heard the second episode. I heard the first episode. I haven't listened to the second episode yet, but check that one out too. Anybody that's listening.
The Minnesota Corn Podcast.
That's
Is that about like just
that's
like
got to be about corn.
It
Like
is.
real
Okay.
corn?
I was
100%.
gonna say, that's
From the Minnesota Corn Growers Association.
what? That's fun. If you like corn.
I think you need to redefine fun.
Well, I mean, if like that's what you do for a living, I'm sure it's
If you're
very
totally
entertaining.
into corn,
Here's one called "Get That Corn Out of My Face." They had one episode in
I was
2017.
like, the problem with like you find these podcasts, like someone did one episode.
Yeah.
So I'm not tooting my own horn, but we're 84 episodes in. I've seen when you look up podcasts, you'll see like someone starts really heavy. It's like every week, and then like once a month, and then they disappear.
That's what happened to my Google teacher podcast that I was listening to.
It happens all the
They
time.
did super great, but then they got so busy with so much going on and like working for Google.
Trust me, this is sometimes
It's rough
it's rough for me to get over
every week.
here.
Every
I
week
live
it's rough.
here
Like, I
and it's
could've
hard for
spent-
me.
I could have spent
Like-
two more hours at the shop this
I
afternoon.
live in this house and it's hard
But-
for me.
But yeah,
I mean,
we got some cool stuff coming though.
we do. We'll get to that later. I'll talk about that later. All right. So back to Adeline. I apologize. I digress.
What we
Feel
do.
free at any point when we get off on a tangent to just join in to said tangent and give us your 2 cents as well.
Oh, definitely.
I do want to get to. So I asked Adeline what question she wanted to ask this week, and it was what. And I misspelled this horribly. What attracts you to a certain type? I shouldn't say types. What attracts you to a certain type of art? And so we had several people comment, and so I wanted to read through those, and then I kind of wanted to get your view on what attracts you to art outside of what you do, outside of your own art.
Mhm.
All right. So Lavissa, our friend Lavissa, said, "I absolutely love art. I took 14 art classes in high school. That seems like a lot of high school art classes.
How do you like?
That's a shit ton of high
She
school
had
art.
to have been on the block schedule and
Yeah, it's
taken
pretty
like
impressive.
Yeah, but even on a block schedule, that's a shit ton of high school
I mean,
art
Never
classes.
seen that many high school art classes for
No,
sure.
I didn't even know there were that.
I didn't know that was possible.
Around class 5. What the fuck are you doing?
I bet it was specialized. Like,
Steven's answer.
Yeah, it had to be
The
like
bottom.
AP classes or something.
well, but
where
it could have also been specialized. So it wasn't just like a generic art. Like it could have been like an art history.
Sculpture.
It could have been pottery. It could have been photography.
Yeah, I didn't go to that kind of school.
I
Yeah.
did not
We-
either.
we had art.
had art.
We had art.
That sounds
and that
like
was
fun.
Yeah, we had Art 1, Art
I would
2,
look that up.
and Art 3,
Yeah.
and Art 4.
I don't even remember high school having art.
And it was
honestly.
the same teacher, all four.
We had art, but you could take band, art, or drama or choir. And I had band and drama, so I was covered. So I never took art in high school, and I never took choir in high school.
We were allowed to take a law enforcement class instead of having to take one of those classes.
What?
So I took a law enforcement 1, 2, 3, and 4,
That's
and then became a cop for 12 years.
How to
Like
proper-
an idiot.
How to properly mace a person.
Yeah, I mean, it was same teacher every year, and it was a fuck off class. It was
That sounds like
all,
an ag.
yeah.
That
all the
sounds like an
football
ag
players,
teacher,
we
like
all
an
took
old,
it, but
like an old school ag teacher, like so that kind of.
Mr. Edwards was a unique individual. Yeah,
Sometimes when you describe a teacher like that.
yeah, pretty sure he was smoking weed in the car between classes before teaching us
love it.
cop stuff, but whatever.
Kids don't do drugs ever.
Yeah.
I read a meme this morning it wasn't a meme. It was just like a little blurb or whatever. But it was like when I was in high school, we always had to close the blinds on Monday morning, and we thought it was the weirdest thing. It's because their teacher always had a hangover from the weekend. And they were closing the blinds. It was only on Monday that they had to close the blinds, and
The
they thought it was
so-
so strange.
Their teacher got wasted on Sundays.
Apparently.
Growing up,
Football. They were watching football.
more and more friends as teachers or like psychiatrists, and then just seeing like all the fun stuff they get into on the weekends. It just cracks me up how like as a kid,
I'm
like-
a boring teacher.
no idea.
We
Yeah.
really are, but we say we're boring, but then we do like reptile shows, and like my kids think that's like the coolest thing they've ever
Yeah,
heard
it's
of.
exciting.
So
Yeah. It's
we
I don't
don't
know.
we
It
don't
gets-
do illegal fun things.
that stuff
So-
becomes the norm for all of us though. Like when you spend a weekend a month at a reptile show, sometimes 2 or 3 weekends a month at a reptile show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, how many shows are you doing now, Adeline?
I just hit my 20th one at Arlington.
So you're still young. You still got a lot to go.
That was the 20th show with the art business. So
Oh, okay.
RBC since 2011 or so. So it's been like 10 years.
Oh wow.
she's got us beat, James. You
She
hush.
doesn't have me beat.
How long have you been doing shows?
Probably somewhere around there. I bred snakes early on.
You didn't start doing shows until after our child was born. Because I don't count like that one random show in Gulf Shores or that.
I sold
one.
a shit ton of snakes at that run random show. At Gulf
Oh
Shores.
well, my bad.
So I feel like starting and going to shows is two different things too.
Yeah,
That's true.
I just
you're the youngest one as far as shows go.
yeah, but I've done 41 shows.
You fit a lot in a small time.
Right. I've done a shitload of shows in the last year and a half.
I mean, I've done. Yeah,
Yeah,
he does.
I do
it too,
every
for
herb
sure.
because he
show.
does every herb show.
Every single herb
Wow.
show. And I've done McQueenie once. That's it. Yeah, everything else has been every herb show.
Yeah.
I think there's I don't know how many we're down to next year or up to. I think we're
You need to
around-
like keep a little scoreboard or like a punch card or like something.
Yeah.
That's what Sean needs.
Punch
Sean
card.
needs a fucking punch card. And after so many shows, you get a pizza. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
You gotta get something for that. That's cool.
That's so funny.
Sean Gray needs a punch card for all his vendors.
Sean
There's a
Gray
few
is
of us.
thinking you're fucking crazy, James Lewis.
There's a few of us that do every show. John and Callie do. See, look, John's done
John
62
Grant,
from February
62 shows since
February.
February 2019.
Yeah. They're like me. They miss
Lord.
one here, one there. But Andy, fuck, how many shows has Andy done? I think he's missed one show.
He's only missed
Right.
one herp show, and that was because Bo was born.
Right.
So we talked about this behind John's back the other day, and I'm going to bring it up.
No, don't do it. Don't be ugly.
John Grant just wrote 90% herp shows, but he didn't write 90%. I don't know what happens in John's head, but he always writes the percent sign first.
And then when he writes something that's a dollar sign, like if he's going to tell you $20, it's 20,
And then
the dollar
dollar
sign
sign.
after.
So they're flip flopped.
Yeah.
Yes.
Must be
Hey.
an Oklahoma thing.
Fucking Oklahoma people.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Jay. I'm not sorry, JD. What am I apologizing for? I did that on purpose. Fuck it.
Oh my gosh.
He accidentally butt dialed me, video called me today while we were messaging. And then I'm like, why is he calling me? He never calls me. And he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to. I was like, well, now you're here. Say hi to everybody. The dollar thing is Cali.
Oh,
So you're both just wrong. Got
so
it.
maybe it is Oklahoma.
It's the grants. It's just a grant thing. Puget Sound Python said Adeline's fantastic. She's doing our new logo.
That's so sweet. I am.
That's awesome. I know that someone here wants me to get a new logo for the podcast because they hate our
Oh,
logo.
yes, please. Something I can put into my system and carve.
I love it.
I may have to hit.
Because we would have a huge Reptile Gumbo podcast thing on the wall here if I had a logo that was, usable in my.
Well, I think we
card.
know someone that we might can talk to after
Yeah.
this podcast about that.
I've tried everything because it has so many colors. I even tried to change it to black and white, but it has so many hues of gray that it just won't
Look,
pull
it's
out
an awesome. So
Sure, yeah, it's great.
Our buddy,
We had a tattoo artist design our logo for it.
our buddy Riley did it. He's an awesome tattoo artist. Does great reptile art as far as tattoos, and it's a great piece of art. But it is definitely not the easiest to just slap on stuff.
I even tried to do it with a laser and try to burn it.
But I love it. Like screen print, it's an amazing picture.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it does not do great for that. So we do have to get a simplified. Also,
It's on my list. Okay. I have a very long list and it's on there.
well, there also may be a chance that speaking of podcasts earlier, that there could be some other podcasts in the works, and I'll need logos for those too.
Gotcha. Okay.
she didn't know about that.
No,
Yeah, she
I
does.
did.
She's just being reminded.
Yeah.
But she's not involved in any of them. She's good.
I'm not because when he brought it up, that was the first
My wife
thing I
might
said.
be.
I mean, I got jealous of the other podcast folks having their own network, and so now I have my network. Although no, my thing is like if I do make any other podcast, which I have some podcasts in the works,
Look,
they will not be like anything that's already out.
it's like he said earlier when I was giving him a lot of shit because he's been drinking too much soda. He's like, I don't smoke and I don't drink alcohol, so let me have my vice. And if this is one of his vices, making podcasts, I'm okay with that. He's at home. He's upstairs. I know where he is. He's safe.
Like we took one entire room of our house and turned it into a podcast studio. I got to make you.
I gave up a craft room for him to have a podcast.
Your craft
room.
area is bigger than this room.
Well, that craft area is also covered in boxes right now. So as we were moving on.
All right, so let's get back to this question that we asked. So again, we got off track because LaVista took 5 million freaking art classes in high school. I saw what high school did she go to?
That is what got us off track.
Anyways, so she said,
LaVista, I'm gonna because I know you're probably listening, and if you're not in the Facebook group right now, then you probably will be at some point this evening. So when you listen to this, I would like some elaboration. So
a breakdown of all 14 classes.
and tell me what you took in high school because I'm
'Cause it
genuinely curious.
It couldn't have been art 1, art 2, art 3, art 4.
You could just private message that to Katie.
Oh yeah, just send it to me. They don't care, but it doesn't
I
matter.
kind of care.
Katie will give us the
I'll give you the rundown.
Katie will break it down for us.
yeah.
But LaVista said, I'm highly attracted to art that I can see and you can tell is completely original idea. I love looking at art that I see and immediately realize I could never make myself. That's most fucking art for me. Unless it's stick figures. I could totally make stick figures. I can rock the shit out of some stick figures.
So here's my question: what do you consider art?
It honestly could be anything. Like, because look,
You made shoes that were a pretty damn close replica
Of
of Sean
Sean's.
Gray's custom made Nike.
You made a Samboa that puked out
Candy.
That is
Like
true.
some of the stuff that
which I might
you're-
need to borrow and take
I was
to
actually going to
Amarillo.
offer that to you. Some of the stuff that you come up with for our child's Halloween costumes for like, is it art that you hang on a wall? No, but it's art that she is wearing.
Yeah.
That like you melted a PVC pipe to make a shepherd's hook
On a
for
gas
little
stove.
Bo Peep
Oh, yeah,
using
the
a gas
I didn't have
stove.
any fire except for the gas stove. So
Who cares about PCBs?
I mean,
turn the vent hood on.
it's
Yeah.
okay. She was 3. It didn't matter. Like, come
Well,
on.
he survived. Just
Speaking of, like
later.
the sign behind us was made by Focus Cubed, and I have the Focus Cubed cage downstairs. I think that cage is a piece of art.
I agree. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't sell yourself short, Lewis. Don't sell yourself short.
There's so
Anyways.
many different types of art. Like
Mhm.
I feel like a
What-
lot of people either appreciate it or actually create it more than they realize, just because there's it's an endless amount of possibilities with it.
I think that's what I enjoy the most about having the CNC machine.
You've done a lot of art.
I get to cut a lot of rectangles to build racks, and that shit gets boring. But man, now I've started doing the wooden flags, and today I cut some stuff out in the waist area on some racks I was cutting, and I enjoy the hell out of that. I'm trying to get more into the design side of it.
Yeah.
Um,
But you've done, I mean, you've done a lot, especially the Halloween. Some of those Halloween
Mhm.
signs y'all have cut out and painted have been really impressive.
Yeah.
Like early on when we started all this stuff with doing the art stuff, you started doing the little planet thing, and you went fucking apeshit with making the little paint planet things.
mhm.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Those
Spray
turned
paint
out
art,
really
yeah.
great. That's
I enjoy that.
art.
I haven't
yeah.
done one in weeks. I need to do one. I bought like $100 worth of
Spray
freaking
paint.
paint and haven't touched it.
It's still sitting
It's
there by the
still
door.
sitting by the door.
I remember going to get it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it sprayed once.
People also don't know this about Robert, but didn't you also used to be a baker?
I owned a bakery.
So, I mean, when you decorate food.
Wait a minute. He said he owned a bakery.
Yeah, no, I baked the shit. My ex-wife decorated it.
Okay, never mind then.
I do not. Have
Scratch
Less
that.
impressive
Let's go
now.
I mean,
Moving
I would
on.
do like cookies, like putting piping icing on them and stuff like that, but not
Okay, never
not
mind.
like she would say
Back
like
it up.
she would give me like this whole area and she like cover this whole thing and the little just one after the other. I could do that, but when it
More
came
than
to
I
like
can do.
cutting fondant and rolling it and doing all that,
Okay, never mind.
and then I couldn't stay there because she got mean when she was doing it. So
That's why she's an ex-wife.
yeah, that's not the main reason, but it's one of them.
Our friend Corey Martin said for her, being attracted to art is all about the emotional response it elicits.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I've ever been overly moved by art.
I have cried looking at art before.
Yeah, I've been to some pretty amazing art museums, and some of the, especially when you read the artist description of it, and then you realize, oh shit, okay, that's more than just black lines on a piece of paper, and you understand what they were feeling and doing at the time that they made it. It can get overwhelming.
One of my favorite stories ever that his grandmother tells is of a time that she took his dad to an art museum, like an art museum in DC, because that's where they lived. And he was little. He was like 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
But it was like a blue square. And they're sitting and he's looking and he's like really focused on this piece of art hanging on the wall. And she's thinking she's going to get this really in-depth response.
Not
She's
from
like,
my dad.
She's like, so what do you think, Sam? He's like, it's a blue square, and just like gets up and moves on. It's like one of my favorite stories that she tells. That and when he got lost.
It
at the
wasn't
errand.
it wasn't him.
It was Andy.
That was my uncle.
It was the uncle that got lost. That's right. That's
We
one of my
actually
favorite.
have a pretty,
Anyways,
pretty good art museum here in Houston.
yes.
The Houston Museum.
There's also the Color Factory. I want to go check that out too. That's on my. I have a list of places I want to go. Those are on that
So
list.
when I was in college in San Diego, I worked at the San Diego Aerospace Museum in Balboa Park, which is where San Diego Zoo is. But it's like here, it's like Herman Park here. It's just a bunch of museums. And being a employee of the museum, we could go to any of the other museums for free. So I would go on my lunch break because every museum had a different little cafe in it.
Oh yeah.
So I'd walk over to this one or that one, and turned out the art museum had a really badass sandwich shop in it. So I would go get a sandwich and then walk to the back of the museum. They had like a little atrium. You could go sit there and eat, and they had different art on display that changed every month. And I used to really enjoy going there. And it was, August and 70 degrees and no humidity outside. And
yeah.
All right. I like art, but I'm
There's
not moved by art. I can tell you what I don't like. Like I'm with Sam. A blue fucking square is a blue square. Or I don't give a shit what anybody says. Jackson Pollock is not an artist.
Shut
Don't fuck off.
up.
The dude threw paint at a canvas and everybody thought it was amazing.
yeah, he's a good salesman.
Yes. But there's literally something anybody else could do. He just did it better at first.
We waited in line for like 4 hours to go to the Louvre when I was young, and probably the second or third time we were in France. And that was a little underwhelming.
I can imagine.
Now, the Sistine Chapel,
Yeah.
and when they tell you how Michelangelo painted that on his back, on a scaffold, basically for 2 years or whatever it was, it's pretty damn amazing.
There's a sculpture garden in DC on the.
With the brown square. See, it goes back to squares.
Oh, there's a round square there.
There's a brown
Okay,
square.
well, moving past the round square, but you walk around and there's a huge fountain in the middle, and that was one of whenever we would go visit your grandmother, and the museums
They
were
win.
open
She's
like
still alive.
pre-COVID. Well, this is pre-COVID, like
Say
when
win
everything
like my grandmother
was still
died.
open.
Don't be killing my grandmother.
No. But before COVID, when we could go and like do fun stuff like that without having to worry about things, Josephine and I, when we would go to the museums, we would always take our lunch and we would go sit next to one of the sculptures and we would eat lunch outside.
Wonderful story.
I know. I thought it was
Relaxing.
jackass.
That sounds awesome. I enjoyed it.
Respect me, James.
No. Give there a few more of these answers. Our buddy Travis Wyman said no specific it thing. There's just a feeling as to whether or not it speaks to me. Sometimes it is the subject matter. Sometimes it is the style. Sometimes it's the technique. No real rhyme or reason to it. Basically, it is the Justice Stewart philosophy. I know it when I see it. Yeah, I mean, I do better like photography. I like photography a little better than I like painting. So I like reality, which is one reason like I really like Adeline's photos because they're real. I mean, you look at that's and I've seen those animals in real life, and then you see them in a painting and a drawing, and you're like, the skill it takes to shade. That's the thing that gets me with art is you can draw a snake, but the time it takes you to like shade them and get all the colors and blend it together. That's the thing. I have a hard time. I'm really good at making shit out of nothing, but I have a hard time when it comes to art, seeing a blank space and seeing where I want to get. Like, I can't do that. I can't figure like I couldn't look. Sculpting amazes me. When someone holds like marble, when they like chip away at marble, like you looked at a giant rock and knew that you had to cut it just right to get an elbow. Like that doesn't fucking make. I don't get that. And so like,
That's pretty impressive.
So like your work when you I watched you sit there and shade the snake and all like without effort. Like it just comes. I mean, I know it's tons and tons of practice, and so it's just it's second nature to you at that point, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it depends on the scalation too. The more familiar I get with a certain type, it becomes more second nature. But when it comes to like having keeled scales, or like say you see a lot of the skin in between scales, that changes things too. But yeah, there definitely is like a rhythm to it that you can kind of just get lost into and just kind of get comfortable with, I guess.
Let's see. My buddy Kevin said St. Peter's Basilica. I knew that too, and my brain just did not function with my mouth. St. Peter's Basilica got me overwhelmed. I didn't expect that. Nathaniel Holcomb, chainsaw art is definitely one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
Chainsaw art and ice sculptures.
So I have to say, my boyfriend's father is a chainsaw artist as well as sculptor. I feel like that it really is sculpture.
It is.
I feel like sometimes when people just say like, oh, they're just like a chainsaw sculptor, there's quite a bit of art to it. And he works actually right out of the driveway that, where we're at. And I get to watch him bring these huge logs in and then sketch it out. And it's pretty incredible the amount of time and effort and the expertise. And like you said, just seeing this giant log and going, oh yeah, there's a coyote going to be there and it's going to have a pup on one side of it, and it's really insane to see the whole process from start to finish of that.
It just takes a different kind of brain. Like my brain doesn't work that way.
There's a guy that I follow on Facebook that I found in one of the CNC groups, but he is an Imagineer. He's been their head sculptor for Disneyland in Florida for like 35 years.
Disney World in Florida.
Disneyland in California.
There we go.
I even pointed to the west when I said it.
I'm glad you knew which direction you were pointing, because to me you were just pointing to the wall.
That's south.
Yeah, right. Like
So,
I'm gonna know that.
Anyway, he's been the head sculptor, and he's now retired, semi-retired. I don't think you ever retire from that, but he travels around, and like he was at UCLA Berkeley the other day, and there's a sculpture there that he did 20 years ago that he forgot he did. So he was posting pictures, and he's like, "Hey, I made this 20 years ago, and look, it's still up." And
that's so cool.
Yeah, but it's all hand sculpted. He posts pictures from like the 70s and 80s, and he's exactly what you think. He's tall, slender, long blonde hair, hippie. I mean, just when you think of California sculptor, it's this guy, and he's awesome, man. I've chatted with him back and forth. He has done some amazing stuff.
Oh, I'd love to see his stuff. That's sweet. That'd be cool.
The zoo we used to work at had a tree that they had cut off like 10 feet above the ground and then left it, and then it just started growing small branches out of this weirdly shaped trunk. And so finally they went and they shaved it all down.
They didn't just cut it though. It broke in a hurricane.
It broke, but then they cut it and left 10 foot of tree above the ground.
Correct.
For no apparent reason. But what happened, and luckily they did later, like a couple years later, that we brought in a chainsaw artist who looked at that and ended up turning it into like a bear climbing up a tree with a raccoon and some bird. Like watching like the whole process of him doing that, because I got to see it because I worked there. I was like, it's insane. I just don't know how your brain realizes that if I cut off, I have to cut off this much of this side of it to leave this much on the other side. I don't know. It's a spatial thing that I guess I just don't get. Darren Watson asked Adeline, would you prefer to work with paint, markers, or pencils?
Can I say all of the above for those three? I started out with pencils, which, that's I feel like a lot of people start with pencils and with graphite, and so that I'm very comfortable with and very familiar with. They all have different elements to them, and I like to utilize them for different things. So currently, most of my stuff is done with Copic markers and Micron pens because I'm just having a lot of fun with that medium. The markers are a blast to work with. I can do a lot of really cool tight detailing and stuff, but it is a little bit more limited for me, at least, because I don't have every single color under the sun, and you can kind of make your own colors a little bit, but it's a bit more difficult. So I'm a little bit limited with colors that way, but I really enjoy painting as well. I don't get to do a whole lot of it much anymore. Actually, the bottle that I painted on for the NARBC auction was the first time I played with acrylics in about a year or so.
You would have never known. Never.
I really enjoy, working with acrylics. I haven't done oils in a long time either, but I always really had a blast with them. I actually just picked up gouache. I've never tried it before, so I'm excited to test that out. I just like trying all the mediums.
And what is that?
Gouache is a type of paint.
Oh, okay.
And
Exactly what you
follow
do.
a ton of artists that use it, and I've always just wondered, and I finally picked some up. So I'm going to test it out and see how I like it.
That's
I
cool.
bet she uses that paint before you use your spray paint.
I use it tomorrow.
John Grant said he needs to do a painting, had a painting done of our drawing of Ava and Poppy. Ava is his Tamandua, his anteater, which I think would be an amazing drawing.
That would be cool.
Because then you can do the big old tongue, and like that's a very. I don't care about Poppy. She attacked me at Conroe, so Poppy can suck it. She's a
Poppy's Coatamundi.
So
Adeline, I just sent you his profile so you can go look at it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll definitely speak.
It was actually at UCLA is where that was at. He remembered that he had done work there, but he couldn't remember what. So he kind of remembered where it was. So he went and he was like, oh, yeah, it was that. Okay. He said he had no photos of it either. So now he has pictures of it. He did it in 2001.
I was waiting to see like 2000, like 1978 or something.
I was thinking
still
before.
20 years ago.
God, don't tell me that.
Damn.
Did y'all see that thing I posted the other day about how a movie? So whenever Dazed and Confused came out,
yes,
the equivalent would be like for us would be like a movie set in 1999.
Yeah.
It made me feel.
We're old. We got it.
Old.
All right.
God.
I did want to read this. So this is Max Hicks's answer to the art question.
It's probably long.
It's not that long. My favorite part of doing photography is getting to share the experience that I had with others. As a consumer, I look for things that show passion. I hate going to places and seeing art that's like, I could have done that, and the attitude being, yeah, but you didn't. I've got to give Max credit, and it hurts me because he was supposed to get eaten by that damn bear.
You're such a mess.
But Max's view on his YouTube channel, he came out with his trip to Alaska to Kodiak with the bears.
He shared that with me because he didn't think you would show me.
Did you watch it?
I haven't yet because I haven't.
I'm the only one at this table that's watched it.
I think
y'all are horrible people. I told Max it was an amazing video, and the photography that he shows in there.
I watched it.
Don't lie. Did you watch it?
Yes.
Did you really watch it?
Yes.
Did you really watch it like you're gonna use that spray paint tomorrow?
No.
The car.
What?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Yes. He's supposed to get eaten by a bear.
He did not.
I know he didn't. That was the
Moved past
letdown.
it.
He tried to.
She's talking about the bear that got hit by the car.
I know that was crazy.
Yeah.
No, but he had some amazing pictures of puffins. I love puffins. I find penguins to be overhyped, fat, lazy birds that should not get the credit they get because they can't fucking fly. Puffins, on the other hand, can do all of it, and they should get more credit. But there was a whole bunch of puffins. He got pictures and videos, which were amazing. But yeah, then to be there with the bear that got, you say he got hit by a car, but it kind of hit the car and got hit at the same time.
I was about to say it definitely.
It charged the car and then got its foot ran over while charging the car.
But it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
I was like, gotta make sure the bear's okay.
The bear's okay.
We actually have Max to thank for the Insularis piece. I actually stopped him. Yeah, so I was just sitting there and I'm like, man, what am I going to draw next? I've always got a long list, a to-do list, but I have a hard time picking it on the spot. And he was literally just walking past the table. I was like, Max, come here. He was like, well, what's up? I'm like, do you have any Insularis pictures by chance? He's like, yeah, I actually have one. And texted me a photo of his. So
When I
that's
saw the
how
picture
that-
of his, I was like, "That's got to be where that came from," because
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yep.
identical.
His is
That's
gorgeous.
exactly where it came from. So I was like, thank you, Max. I literally just like stopped him when he was like in the middle of walking somewhere, and he was nice enough to send that to me.
Yeah, anybody that has not seen his video yet, go see his video
Or any of his
on Max.
photography,
Any of his
for that
photography.
matter.
That video, like I said, he got some amazing shots of like these two brother bears playing in the water. He saw them multiple times all up there. Some amazing shots of a mother and had 3 cubs with it. That's the other thing about being up there is like if you're there long enough, you see the same animals over and over again. And so Max got to see all that. It was
That's
really
so
good,
Cool.
even though he didn't get eaten by the bear.
James.
What? And then the whales let me
Such
down.
a
He went to go
jerk.
video whales, and none of them fell on his boat.
Such a jerk,
I was
James.
waiting for the breach and fall on the boat. One of these days.
Hmm.
Megan Braun says she loves your art, by the way.
Well, thank you, Megan. Very kind of you. Thanks. It means a lot.
I totally had a question in my mind, and I forgot it because it's Max's fault.
James.
If he got eaten by that bear, it wouldn't have happened.
James.
Oh,
Although he did post a really funny meme the other day
oh.
about how people are like, oh, you're the one that, oh, what do you do? I'm a photographer. Or, oh, what are you known for? Photography. What are you known for? YouTube. No, you're known as the guy that like carrots get thrown at.
Oh, that was
something
because that was
I
Kayla.
forget.
That's
But I
Kayla's
mean,
the only one
it's
that throws carrots at him.
She was not the only one that night because
She was the only one launching them at 150 miles an
legit
hour.
thought he was going to have bruises the next day from those carrots.
I'm convinced that there's carrots hidden in their house still that they haven't found.
Oh, without a doubt. They'll find them when they move.
When they
in a
move
couple
everything
weeks.
out,
And
yeah.
that was January, Conroe.
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's fossilized carrots underneath the bed somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, things that happen at a herp show. So I have a question that I wondered. So you do all your drawings and everything. How does the process go of turning those into prints? I've always wondered.
Unless it's so secretive that if you tell us, you have to kill him, in which case then don't tell
We
us.
go ahead and tell him.
No.
It's not secretive at all. It's pretty. I tell everybody. Thankfully, my boyfriend's a photographer and has a really nice camera. And so what we do, actually, it's kind of, I feel like silly if you actually see the whole process, but I stand outside and I hold my piece and he photographs it. Usually,
That
sunlight.
sounds dirty. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds really dirty. For anybody else here.
But my
She stands outside, holds her piece, and he photographs it.
Get your
Yep.
mind out of the
That'd
That'd
gutter.
probably make even more money.
God, James.
Welcome to the
You
Reptile
said
Gumbo
that. I was
podcast.
like, I was thinking,
And
like,
No
usually
one else
when
thought it?
first
no,
love
because when you say I held my piece, I'm thinking like pew 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 pew. I don't know if we're allowed to say that word.
Gun? You can say
Yeah,
gun.
can we, this isn't Facebook.
This
so
isn't
we can
Facebook
say
or
gun.
YouTube. We're good.
Yeah.
Pew pew pew.
The guns. Pew pew.
You've actually shot a gun. You know damn well it's not what it
I know
says.
it's
Never
not.
heard it go pew.
Pew pew. No one will be afraid of that gun.
Look here. Look here.
All right, let her finish her answer.
Sorry, go ahead. So you're there holding your piece.
We do a high detail photograph of it. And he's very good at color correction. So what he'll do is he'll have the original next to him. And he will make sure that they basically look identical, like that the color is totally correct on it. And we'll cut each piece out by hand, which sometimes can take a long time. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry to make your life difficult. Some of my pieces that have like splashing water and stuff, he literally has to cut out like the water droplets and every single little squiggle. And then after that, we will get prints made of them. So
That's awesome.
kind of the gist of the whole process. But yeah, I felt so bad. There was one piece I did of a tokay gecko, and it's on a branch, and there's all these leaves. And it took me about like 6 or so hours doing that piece, and it took him about the same amount of time having to cut it out.
Oh,
There's
wow.
really
To
a
make
lot
it
of
into a
thought
print.
that- Yeah, because you see the texture of the paper with a camera that's, that good. And so, it wouldn't really look quite right getting printed. And so he has to literally cut it all out. So very
Yeah, 'cause
thankful for that.
Because it definitely doesn't. You couldn't tell that by looking at them. I mean, I looked at them at the show, and it looks like each one is just printed of the actual thing.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
So Megan, and we kind of covered this earlier, but Megan Braun just said, when did you start drawing reptiles and vending expos? So as far as art, that's a more recent thing, vending expos for art.
Yes. So I went full time with the artwork February, of 2020. 2 shows prior to that, though, I'm actually pretty surprised that she brings this up. 2 shows prior, I had started drawing little tiny amounts, like not much at all. And for some reason, I decided that I would try to get some prints made. And I had a teeny little, like, one of those clear flyer holders. And so I put a couple prints and a couple, just a few pieces up at my friend's table at Birds and Bees Pet Shop. And because they're like, yeah, you can put a little flyer thing, like put a little bit of artwork there. So I had a couple things. And at that time, like, I didn't know anything about backing boards or like putting things in bags. Like, I was not prepared whatsoever. It was like a very spare of the moment thing. So yeah, there were a couple of shows that I brought stuff, and I still remember a couple people came over and bought some prints, and they're like, do you have a bag or anything? I was like, no, like they're just literally the prints by themselves. So I've got photos of that way back down at the beginning of my page. It's a fairly new page, so it should be easy to scroll down. It's crazy though to see that compared to like my 2 table booth now is kind of fun. But yeah, so I pretty much have been drawing reptiles on and off since I was little, but stopped for a long time. I drew a lot in high school, but then I just got busy with work and working, at pet stores and wildlife centers and with the animals themselves. And I pretty much didn't really get back into it until like 2019 or so. I started drawing a little bit on the side and got to the point that I was just very busy and booked and having way too much fun with it, and thought, why not make this a full-time thing? So it was last February.
And I'm assuming it's gone well for you since then.
I'm very grateful to say that it has. Yeah.
The great thing is you sell an item at a reptile show when someone can't come in and buy a snake at every show. They can come in and buy a picture of a snake
or a sticker.
Or a sticker. Yeah, there were stickers.
I may have bought one for my laptop.
Yeah.
That's how I can tell my school laptop from everybody else's now. We all have the same exact laptop. And so I'd go to meetings and I'm like, I need stickers for my laptop. And so I bought one of hers at the Conroe show.
There you go.
I also bought a Christmas present.
Mine has a few stickers.
Yours has a few stickers, yes.
I need a bigger laptop.
No. I also bought a Christmas present for my sister-in-law.
Oh, that's true. You did get one.
Mm-hmm. I got a print. I'm excited. She's going to love it.
So I asked one other question this week on I asked an animal related.
Wait, hold on. Are we done with art?
That was no, we don't have to be done. We can go back and forth. Do you have art?
Well, you didn't ask how we feel about art.
My bad. How do you feel about art?
Well, you have bought me my favorite art piece.
That is true. I did buy it.
So whereas art may not evoke emotions for you,
it got me laid.
It got me
laid.
You also ended up stuck with me. So there's that.
Fuck, I knew I should have bought the damn thing. The power of art.
The power of art. Got your wife.
I do feel like the art evoking emotions thing it doesn't have to be something crazy, I've heard a lot of people expect, like, does art move you? They think, like, they picture somebody crying at, like, a museum in front of something. Even just looking at something and laughing, or looking at something and, thinking that's stupid, or looking at something and going, hey, I like that species. That's an emotion too. And it doesn't necessarily have to be profound. Like, I've never had a moment where I've cried at artwork. Like, I personally haven't, but there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I cried everything, so that's not really like
fucking commercials.
Commercials on TV make me emotional.
You make the Super Bowl hard to watch.
I can't handle it, man. I just can't. They all get
fucking insurance commercial, and you're sitting there bawling your eyes out.
Oh my god, it was horrible. It's been so much worse now that I'm a mom. Like, I'm not even gonna
Dalmatian shows up to play soccer with a horse, and you're like, oh my god,
I lost it. Anyways, but the piece of art that I have, it's not animal related, it's not reptile related, it's abstract. And we were walking around. It was right after my dad had passed away. I was struggling with, like, leaving my dorm room and going and doing things. And my roommate at the time talked me into going to this little, like, farmer's market type.
No, y'all went Y'all did a
Oh,
singing
no,
event.
we
Y'all
went
sang
and sang
for
at
like
the-
elderly or something.
Yes, that's what it
And
was at the nursing
At
home.
the nursing home, and the guy had art on the wall for sale at the nursing home,
Yes,
and you saw
that's
something
it.
that you loved.
It was the first time since my dad had passed away that I was just like happy about something. And it's funny because when you look at the piece, there's not really much happiness in it because it's like dark yellows and reds and blacks and like it's a lot of darker colors, but I felt like that's how I was feeling at the time. And it was
Well,
really
the thing
great.
is, so we weren't dating yet. You were still engaged to your fiance. You whore.
Thanks for putting all my business
Oh,
out there.
I put it out there.
Girl.
I'm gonna stab you with this pen.
It's a great story because I won.
Oh,
Uh,
God.
I'm the hero here.
Okay, so there will be lines drawn in the future because
Oh,
you
no.
just jumped over that one leaps and bounds.
Like dead people don't get to know. That was
So
a million years ago.
Moving on.
y'all think YouTube has an algorithm that listens to us? Because I just open YouTube and the first thing that pops up, never watched a video on carving anything. Carving a snake out of wood.
All of our Facebook. That's what it's all going to be now.
So, anyways, you told me about this painting, and I was like, I'm gonna go try and buy this painting. And so I went to the place, and it wasn't on the wall. There were no paintings, and the guy had come and just got them. The artist had come and just got them, taking them back. And she gave me his number, so I called him, and he goes, I just actually took that off the frame and destroyed that one. That he was like, I needed to reuse the frames, so I just stripped it off and threw it away. And I was like, shit. He goes, look, I'll paint you a couple other ones, and then you tell me which one you want. And so if I had never seen the one you wanted, you kind of explained it to me. So he painted a couple other ones. He showed them to me. I was like, I want that one.
I don't even remember the original, I'll be honest.
I don't know what it was because he destroyed it. He needed the wooden frames
Mhm.
to do new paintings. And so I
Yeah.
bought that one.
Yep. So I've had it for almost 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time to own a piece of like it's a fairly
One of these days we're gonna get it really framed. It's
I'd
just
say
still on like the
it-
frame with the metal wire
Yeah.
on the back of it, hang on the wall.
it's a fairly large piece, I think.
Y'all on your pieces.
Shut up.
Oh, Megan Brown said, "Do you do commissions?"
That I do.
There you go, Megan. She does commissions.
Yeah, I've got a lot of commission information on my website. It's literally my name and art, AdelineRobinsonArt.com. So I've got a couple different pages with like fine art commissions and logo commissions. Yeah, it's a good chunk of what I do.
Terry Rushford said they got a print and some stickers at Schaumburg.
Hey, Terry. Terry's
So-
awesome.
So here's your emotional time, Robert. How does art affect you?
I really am going to need you to not be so snarky.
In different way. It depends on the art. I mean,
That's that.
yeah, I mean, you can't really, I can't say art does this. It depends on the art, where
Do
I'm
you
at
like
in my
movies?
life at that point. Do what?
Do you like movies?
I love movies.
Do you like music?
I do. That's all art
That is.
for sure. Like,
I'm far moved by movies.
yeah,
Like there's no way you can watch the movie Hardball with Keanu Reeves
mhm.
and not cry at the end of that fucking
Yep.
movie.
For me, it's pretty much any Kevin Smith movie. It just
Oh,
makes me
God,
feel like a kid,
yes.
like I'm in high school again.
I was about to say, it can't be crying. There's no way you cried in Dogma.
No, no.
That's a fabulous movie, though.
Yeah, you can't. The only way you can watch that movie now is to buy it. You can't stream it
Really?
because fucking Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, really?
He owns the movie, and the streaming rights expired at the end of last year,
And nobody.
and
wants-
nobody will touch it now because of Harvey Weinstein.
Oh.
So you have to buy a DVD. And last time I looked on
I
Amazon,
was gonna
they
say they're
were
probably
around $100.
outrageous.
$100. I can't pay $100 for a movie.
Yeah, and then
Well, because it's like the reptile books. You can't.
$40.
I still can't pay $40 for a movie.
44, 38. Yeah, I'm gonna buy it because it is my favorite Kevin Smith movie by far.
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic, and it makes fun of Catholic.
I was about to say,
Catholicism. Same thing.
when I watched
Buddy
it in
Jesus.
college, it was like
Yeah, Buddy Christ,
I
Buddy
laughed
Christ.
through the whole thing. It was great
Yep, I have a Buddy Christ
because
actually.
again,
I mean, George Carlin plays a cardinal.
yes,
I can't rewatch it.
What?
I said I haven't seen it in so long now. I'm kind of pissed that I can't just
Oh.
like
I
rewatch
know.
it.
Well, you got Alanis Morissette as God. The voice of God is Alan Rickman.
Yep.
love him.
The
Matt
pants.
Damon, Ben Affleck play Bartleby and Loki.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Chris Rock is.
He's the 12th disciple, Rufus. Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
So yeah,
God, that movie is great. Shit, I don't own that either.
yeah.
Fuck.
But then who the other day was telling me, oh, Lucas's brother. He's like, I think I have it in a box at home. I'm like, you bring it. You bring
I
it
will
to
pay
me, and I will buy
you
it
for
for
this
yes.
movie.
On
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah,
Love it.
I don't care.
We have a TV with built-in VCR.
Yeah, I mean DVD, $34.
So, Adeline, I'm gonna aim your question at you. What attracts you to certain types of art?
For me, it's the diversity of it. I think the fact that you could put a ton of people in a room together and have them draw the same thing, and each one's going to be different. Even if they try to do the same style, each one is going to be somebody's own. And so that's kind of what I really enjoy. I enjoy a variety of styles. There's a lot of stuff that, I would never be able to do, and I appreciate that for what it is. And I try to look at things for what they are and enjoy them that way. So I know, there's a lot of pieces that aren't for everybody. Everybody's got their own thing that they're drawn to. Usually for me, personally, I enjoy a lot of animal art, as I'm sure you could expect, or like horror, dark art, anything natural or natural history related to, I'm really into. I prefer pieces to be anatomically correct, even if they're stylized. If they're not, to me, it just kind of looks wrong. I think just because I'm so familiar with animals and I've worked with them for so long. But that's kind of like the only thing that I feel like I'm really particular about in that department. And I know everybody in the field that they're into probably feels the same way. Like if I drew a car, I'm not a car person. I'm sure it would look totally like super weird or jank to somebody that's super familiar and in that in that type of living. So I think I love the individualistic aspects of it and how unique it is to each person.
I thought of something when you said, if you put a bunch of people in a room and ask them to paint the same thing, it comes out different. And I thought about, I think we talked about it before, Ed and Emily at Reptile Discovery, where they did the cage build off.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a bunch of cages and a whole room full of the same supplies, and they had like 10 different YouTubers, and no one made the same thing.
Mm-hmm. It was really cool though.
Somebody named Russian Cooch Smoocher
No.
has uploaded the entire movie to YouTube.
Oh my god.
In HD.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we've said that online, it's probably going to go away.
My sister right now is in, actually, it's been uploaded for over a year.
You can download YouTube videos. You can do it right now. You can
yeah.
it.
My sister is in Minneapolis, and she sent me a video last night. She's like, look at this reptile store we went to today.
Oh, she at Twin Cities?
She went to Twin Cities. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, did you know that Snake Discovery store is only 15 minutes from there? And she was like, what? I had no clue that this is where they were. So she's going there. They're not open today or yesterday, so she's going there tomorrow.
Cool.
I think Twin Cities is the oldest reptile store in the country.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But it's been at several locations. There's one, I think, in California that is the oldest in its location. I can't remember. It's one way or the other, but it's
she sent me a bunch of pictures and videos from there last night.
Yeah.
So cool.
But yeah, the winning one from that whole cage build off was Garrett Hartle, who went and built like a barn. He built wooden and with like a water feature and rope, and like it was an amazing setup. But yeah, it's that whole idea of here, guys, build a cage, and no one built it the same way.
Yep.
And they all started out with the same box and all the same supplies in the room. So yeah,
that's because your point of view is different from everyone else's point of view.
Yeah,
I just taught this to third graders like 2 days ago.
Well, I like the so I don't have any bioactive stuff because I just don't. I have, besides having my own isopods, I just don't have bioactive enclosures. But I do find the living art aspect of when someone does a full-on bioactive enclosure impressive. What's that face for?
You have one downstairs.
It's not really bioactive.
Did you know YouTube has a thing if you right click?
Oh my god.
It's called Stats for Nerds.
We're all over the place.
Trying to figure out how to download this movie. I'm sorry.
You have to go to a certain website that allows you to download YouTube videos. You can just Google search that. This is for anybody out there wondering how to do this, because as a teacher, I don't always trust my internet's going to work when I need to show a video to kids.
Oh yeah.
So you can find websites. It'll ask you to put the link from that page, from that YouTube page, and it'll be able to download it. I mean, it's totally illegal. And this is all,
how is this legal?
This is all theoretical. Like if we were going to do it, but we're not actually going to do that because that's illegal. That'd be ridiculous to rip off someone else's art.
Yeah, this is,
But if you were going to do it, that's how you would do it. You're saying
he's not Kevin Smith doesn't make any money off this movie anymore.
Really?
So no, because
Harvey Weinstein.
Because Miramax owns it.
Oh.
So I don't mind stealing from Harvey Weinstein.
All right. So any more art related questions right now?
No, go ahead.
We'll come back, I'm sure. So the next question I asked was an animal. So would you rather buy an animal you want from someone with bad service or an animal you don't want as much from someone with great service? And there are several things that have happened lately that made me think of this. Someone that okay. Anyways, there's someone that's telling us how to download stuff. But so there was a wide variety of answers here. And so I definitely want to go through some of these answers. And then kind of explain where I am on this. And I'll ask y'all your opinion on how y'all feel about this. I know, Katie, you don't buy reptiles that often, but
no, but I have lots of opinions on the subject, so let's go. I came ready this week.
So Christian Parr said I would only buy from someone with bad service if it's my only option. I'm extremely picky with animals I bring into my house, so if the person isn't willing to give me the information I won't buy from them no matter what. Generally, I won't buy from someone who isn't willing to talk to me on the phone or in person. Nathan, our listener, Nathan Holcomb, said neither. He says, I quit going to nearby pet stores completely because of a little lie. Just shows lack of respect for customers. On the other hand, I am not going to buy an animal I don't want or need just because somebody offers superb service. Ish said I'd rather wait for the animal I'd want from someone I know or is known for good service. I want to get to Travis's in a second, but Lance said neither. Quality is number one. I've waited 5 years before I got my original target species. And all of those sound great in theory. But I knew where I was going with this, and I figured Travis would be the same way. He says, with most of the things I'm looking for, I am more in a position where I have to take the animal because I do not know when or where the possibility might rise again. I've been lucky that for the most part, the sellers were fair at worst, which is kind of where I was going with this. So there are certain animals I want that are probably going to have to be imports. And I'm not knocking imports. It's just there is definitely the chance of when you get an import for certain people that it's not going to be in the best quality that you want. But I really want Calabar's burrowing pythons, and no one has really bred them on a large scale. And whenever you see babies for sale, it's just because someone got imported adults that had babies. So that's kind of where I am with that. I also want Saharan sand boas, and very few people captive breed them. And so I'm probably going to have to end up getting a wild caught import Saharan to start my own line of that. So that's another area. So I'm with Travis. I think I'm at the same time, if given the option, I definitely don't go with someone with bad service. There are definitely people at shows that I will not go to because of the person. And they've definitely had animals on their table where I'm like, oh man, I'd risk that.
Yep.
If it was someone else that owned the snake.
For sure.
And so that's kind of where I sit. In a perfect world, yes, you would get the animal you want from the person with the best service. But that's not the world we live in, so it's not the best. So, Adeline, what's your opinion? Would you rather, if there's something you want, because you like monitors, and sometimes it can be hard to find certain monitors, especially captive bred, would you deal with someone who had bad service with the animal you want, or would you go with a lesser animal for better service?
I think it really depends on the situation. That's tricky because, I mean, I feel like for me personally, it would depend on the scarcity, like you said, the scarcity of that species, and whether you're willing to roll the dice or whether I would be based on, something that's difficult to get in. Because I most of my animals are imports as well. Yeah. And so that's a tough one. I mean, there's plenty of people that have amazing service that I know that breed a lot of awesome stuff, but it's not anything that I'm looking for. So I haven't purchased from them. Like, they're my friends. I could see myself definitely taking a risk on some animals with, some folks that I'm either not super familiar with or, not really knowing their background or whatnot. If the animal was hard enough to get, I probably would try.
That's how it kind of was with my rubber boas. One of my pair of rubber boas came from a well-known source. The other two pairs that I got in, and one went to a friend, one were mine, came delivered in.
They were sketchy.
It was sketchy. So like they came in deli cups, and then inside of a fish filter box. Like if you had kept the box after getting a fish filter, that was stuff like paper towels to hold them in. Like it was not shipped the best. But I wanted rubber boas, and they're one of those snakes that, like, when they're available, everyone buys them and you don't get them because you always see people with the rubber boa groups goes, who has rubber boas for sale? And no one fucking has them for sale. That's the answer. No one. So yeah, I took a chance. I was like, I need them, and they've been great. They've been wonderful. The pair that my friend has are wonderful. But it's just a risk.
Yeah, I feel like when you do that, you know that you're taking that risk and you're willing to take that risk. So I mean, same thing with the tree monitors. Like, I know it's an import. I know this could either go great or it could not go great. We'll see. Or it's just time will tell, and quarantine and keep on top of them.
I need to say something. John Grant, check your messages. Go ahead.
Darren Watson said, would you deal with a person you know nothing about? And we just mentioned that. Yeah, I mean, I've done it now. This week or this past week, Travis sent me a message. He was asking for me to check on someone because he was wanting to get some rubber boas that were for sale. And it was just very fishy. The you can always tell when someone messages somebody and the grammar is just off enough to make you go, that doesn't seem right. And then we started to back search their Facebook and all this, and these things aren't adding up. And I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, I wouldn't do it. And he didn't. And it's funny, later that day on the rubber boa page, or maybe the next day, there was a pop-up asking if anybody got screwed over by this guy and this and this. And I was like, oh shit, someone fell for it.
I feel like it's kind of easy now that there's so many scammers and there's so much of that going on, to be able to check up and verify somebody. I feel like a lot of people that are either new to the hobby or unfamiliar with it, or like when all of this first started, that seemed to happen a lot. But I feel like as people are getting more and more savvy, like I've had so many scammers steal my photos and try to sell them to me.
Oh my gosh.
I had the scammer steal photos and try and sell racks.
Yeah,
oh, that's right.
Like, it's so prevalent now that I feel like it's fairly, if it's fairly easy to spot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's tricky. But I mean, like Nathaniel Holcomb says, if they're not captive bred in the States, then you have to take it from whoever will import them and start somewhere. And then you can be the good breeder with good service, which is kind of where it has to be for some of these things.
That's true.
One of our listeners, I don't know who that is because that's a Facebook user. So
yeah, I'm not on there right now.
This is, how do you respond to scammers of your art?
Or art thieves?
Yeah. Actually, I know it's going to happen at some point. It hasn't happened yet to me, but I have seen it happen to a lot of my friends, unfortunately. I've actually found the sponsored ads myself of that's not right. That's so-and-so's artwork. And it sucks because same thing with the scammers, no matter how much you report them, to Facebook or Instagram, nothing ever happens. And especially with the sponsored ads, it's insane how much that's happening right now. So I should be better about watermarking my stuff. I recommend that everybody does watermark their stuff. Do as I say, not as I do, or however that saying goes.
Hey, I recommend you watermark your stuff.
Yeah, I should watermark my stuff a little bit more for sure.
Because you have amazing drawings.
I'm bad about that too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and then now I'm like, do I have to go back and archive everything and then re-upload it with a watermark to clean and make sure everything I have out there is watermarked? I'm just bad about it. But yes, everybody should be watermarking their things. One of my friends, actually two of my friends that recently had it happen to them, they had watermarks on there. And it's like a low opacity watermark over the artwork. And the scammers basically spent their time going through and removing the watermark, and are popping up with fake profiles as, fake reptile artists. There's a lot of Chinese companies that are stealing sculptures from someone that I know, and they're selling her sculptures online for $30 snake sculpture door handle, and
I know who that is. I think I've seen that because those door handles are fucking amazing.
Yeah, JL Cook's work is incredible, and I feel so terrible.
I've never seen the scammers.
Yeah, I mean they're awful.
Question.
She had to take down her website and take down any platform. She took everything down and has been trying to fight them. I don't know. I honestly don't really know all the avenues that you need to take when that does happen, because it hasn't happened yet. I figured if it ends up happening, I'll definitely have to ask for help of how to, try to strike back in any way you can. But it's tough, especially with, overseas scammers and social media not really taking any any responsibility whatsoever.
Well, it's
It's
because
just,
and it happens a lot on Facebook. Art, you see it pop up in reptile groups. There's one guy, I can't remember his name, who pops up in all of them. Who's a art snake drawer. He does snake drawings, and is it DeLuca something? But he's in a bunch of them.
Kyle Duca.
Yeah, which is another one that I've seen his drawings and think, man, that's amazing. And I've seen people comment before, and I'm sure you've gotten this when someone asks you for something, and then you give them a price. You probably suffer from the same thing as someone who's selling a snake and someone gives them a price. And have so many people tell you, well, that just seems like too much. I mean, do you get that often, or have you been lucky enough not to have that happen much?
I will get ghosted. Usually,
Which
people
is
are like, oh wow, like they'll be surprised, and they'll say like, hey, that's not in my budget right now. And I'm like, hey, I totally understand. Like that's fine. There's plenty of stuff I want to get that I can't afford too. Like no big deal.
You know what's funny though is that after Conroe, I actually told 4 or 5 people, hey, if you haven't gone to look at her art booth, go do that now because her art is so affordable.
Well, the prints are definitely affordable.
Correct. I agree with that, but I can't.
It's different than a custom job.
Well, absolutely, but I mean, I can't think that because I've seen your prices on your prints and I've seen your prices on the things that you had on your table. Like I cannot fathom that
was too much for somebody.
That a custom job would even it's custom. They're making this one of a kind for you. That's something that you almost can't put a price on.
Well, you can't. She puts a price on it.
Well, apparently it's too high for some people, but
it's hard to do too. It's really hard to price your own work because I guess with all creatives, it's very easy to get down on yourself and like get down on your work sometimes. And so I've had a lot of pep talks of pricing your stuff. It's really tough for a lot of artists. So yeah, luckily a lot of people are like, oh wow, that's understandable. It's out of my budget. So usually most people are very, very kind about it. But one of my big goals when I got into this is I wanted to make art affordable because I can't count the amount of times I've gone to shows or gone to events and there'll be an artist there. And I'll want to buy something from them because I always love buying things from other artists. I love to support other artists, even if it's a little bit, like even if I can't do a whole lot. And sometimes I'll go to them and, the cheapest thing they have is like $100. And I'm like, well, I wasn't budgeting for that. Like I wanted to pick up something small if I could. And I think everybody should be able to enjoy art in their homes, no matter what your budget is. So I try to have something for everyone.
I could see pricing being difficult for you because, like, for Robert, pricing is easy for a rack. You know what it costs for you to make it. You know what it costs for you to pay your employee.
Correct.
What you need to make.
Yep.
But for you, I mean, you're obviously not just charging the cost of what you drew it on and the ink you use. I mean, that's time, and so you're having to figure out what your time's worth, and then what your creative thought and all is worth as well. And that's a tricky one.
There's a lot that goes into it that I think people tend to forget or not realize. They just see like a drawing. And that's all they see.
Well, yeah, you drew this. It should be cheap. You can sell it to me. You drew it.
Yeah. Like you said, that the paper is usually fairly expensive. For my markers, on average, each marker costs about $7. So yeah,
those are the markers that your child wanted me to buy her. And I was like, baby, let's start small. And if this becomes a thing,
start with pencils, like she said,
then we'll move up.
Yeah.
Like we're not going balls to the wall, most expensive product out there to start with.
Yeah, it definitely helps to test them out and on a small scale before jumping into them, which is what I did. I started with just like a very small grayscale set, and I was like, all right, I like these, and next thing I know, I'm saving up all my dollars just to be able to get some really nice, fine quality art markers. But it's the markers, the pens, the paper, and then not only the time that I'm spending planning the piece out, but the time I'm spending on the piece, and then the time that I've had to basically amass in the past to be able to get to the point that I'm at now. So there's so many different factors that go into that pricing, and I try to make things as affordable as I can. I also don't want to cheat myself of my time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. It's honestly really hard to price things. I have a lot of artists talk to me about it. I talk to a lot of other artists about it of like, hey, what do you think? Does this seem right? For my skill level and the amount of time I'm spending, what do you think? So, I mean, it's definitely it's tricky for a lot of people. I don't think I've known anybody that's like, I will charge this amount of dollars. This is fair, and is super, I guess just point blank about it to the start. There's a lot of thinking and planning in it.
Well, I definitely think that if someone comes to a show and sees your table, all of your prints are 100% affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And like that should never be a thing. And then if it's custom job, like you said, Katie, it's custom. At that point, you ask them to do something just for you. That that drawing you did of the Ancillars and then made prints of it is not the same as someone saying, "Hey, will you draw this logo for me?" That's you did the Ancillars, and you're going to make money off those prints. That logo is a one-time sale. That person
and that
that's gonna be
other
their art.
person is making money off of it because they're putting it on shirts and cups and whatever else they're using.
So
Yeah.
Very passionate.
now,
about
and
stuff.
I've talked in the past about trying not to be the person who, if you can't afford something, asking. But at the same time, sometimes it's worth asking with a price. I've done it for snakes where I've been, hey, how much is this? Because I need to know. Maybe I can't afford it, or maybe I can't. Like I don't know what prices they're going to put on stuff. So
yeah, I encourage people ask, because you never know, and it could always be something that you save up for eventually. I know I've asked people that, just so that way I know what to save up for in the future. I definitely welcome people asking or checking out my website, actually, because I have all that info posted there. But yeah, there's no harm in asking, as long as people are polite. Like, I'm happy to talk to folks all day.
So Stephen Poole asked, what is your favorite kept species, and what's something you would love to keep?
Personally, I'd probably go with the blue tree monitors, because they are just, their personality is kind of ridiculous and fun. And the tree monitors in general, like the greens, that they're so goofy. I've had quite a few different species of monitors, and they all have a lot of personality. It's all kind of different with each one of them. The tree monitors are kind of, they attract me visually, and they attract me with their, personality and intelligence and all that fun, goofy stuff. So that'd probably be favorite kept species. For species I would love to keep, there's so many. It probably won't be for a long time. Like, eventually, when I have the time and the space, like, I'd love to be able to get like a Bell's Phase lace, just as a pet, as like a personal pet. There's a lot of venomous species that I would love to have. There's a lot of just fun stuff I'd love to work with, but that's probably fairly up there when it comes to one of the species that's on the bucket list for sure.
I'm assuming you saw the Bell's Phase at Conroe.
I actually didn't get a whole lot of time to walk around. I don't know if I don't think I saw the one there. No.
I think everybody missed that one. There were like, one guy had
easy to miss.
Yeah, there were like 4 or 5 babies. It was right next to, it was attached to the VPI table. But it was one little setup with like 4 or 5 Bell's Phase.
I should have put balloons on like the or something. I would have ran over there so fast. Yeah, I love seeing them at shows. Like, they're super cool. A Crocodile Monitor is also, really up there.
I knew you were going to say that because I love Crocodile Monitors.
Yeah, they just have those like blocky heads. They just look.
It's a dinosaur.
So cool. Yeah. There's no other way to describe it. I mean,
it's like when they designed the Velociraptors for Jurassic Park. They went, "Hey, have you ever seen a Crocodile Monitor? That's what you need to design right there, just standing up on 2 legs."
They're cool.
So while we were talking about monitors, it made me realize I do want to bring up one thing. It's not the best news, but it's getting better. Anybody that's come to the Herp shows has probably met Blake Wilson. He's one of our vendors at the Herp shows. He's the one that always has black dragons and a lot of monitors, fly river turtles, and a bunch of other things. Blake is an amazing person. I know you've dealt with him on certain things that's helped you out.
I love how funny he is.
Oh, Blake's hilarious.
I mean,
You've never watched Blake's YouTube channel?
He does a makeup.
What?
There's a YouTube video of him how to properly put on makeup.
I didn't know this was a thing.
He looks like a drag queen by the end of it's fucking
what?
hilarious.
You know what the Blakey 2-inch is, right?
I've heard it, but I've never been told the story.
He was going to be a rapper.
Rapper,
when he was in high school, and that was his rap.
That was his rap.
He's got some raps on YouTube. They're pretty terrible.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go look for him on YouTube now, and I don't even watch YouTube. This is pretty great.
So the reason we bring up Blake Wilson is that last week he unfortunately had a accidental fire in his lizard building, and he lost everything. And I mean, it was a lot. He had just had
some black
dragons born. He had just had some awesome Uromastics. I know. I don't. He had a lot, and so he lost that. And the reason I bring that up is because if anybody wants to help, there is a group on Facebook called Blake Wilson Auction Group, and there've been a lot of great things auctioned off in there. I know both of you have put, Robert and Adeline, y'all have put things in the auction for them.
You've got something that you're going to put
I'm
in
going to
there.
add something to it. It just anything that people can help, because Blake is a great person and a great part of the hobby. And I hate when seeing something like this. Fire, for anybody that keeps reptiles, fire is our big. We're like Frankenstein's monster. We're horrified of fire. I've driven home before and seen something on fire in the direction of my house, and my first thought was, "Fuck, my shit's on fire." And then I get there and luckily it's not my house; it's somewhere else. But it's definitely a fear. And then to hear that happen and to hear what he lost and knowing what he had and how much he loves all his animals, it was huge. So anybody out there, if you want to go check out the Blake Wilson auction group, check out the things that are on auction, bid on some stuff, help him out. He's a great guy, and I know Blake. And it got set up between Sean Gray kind of pushed this, knowing that Blake would not take money from anybody.
Right. And
Sean Gray said, "Fuck you, Blake. You're going to take money from everybody."
He said, "I'll come drop singles on your front yard if I have to."
Yeah. So,
which that right there tells you the kind of person that he is.
Yeah.
Because he will be the first one to pull money out of his own wallet to help someone else.
He's always buying stuff at the auctions.
Yeah, always.
Well, and we've talked about it before with herps. And for anybody that has not been able to come to a herp show, I hate it for you. It is definitely a family feel when it comes to all the vendors. Adeline, how many was Conroe your first, or you've done other herp shows?
No, Conroe was her first.
I heard about it for years. Actually, Blake used to tell me about it when, because I'm used to the NARBC shows, so that's my home show. And so he'd be like, "Dude, you got to go to Conroe. You got to do it." And I finally was able to make it, which I was super excited about.
And so it's definitely a family. And when something like this happens to one of us, it's huge.
Well, and the Conroe show you did was probably the most subdued Conroe show I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was.
Without a doubt.
Usually there's a line wrapped around the whole.
That was a very calm show.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying, but everybody was so welcoming and just so wonderful going to that show. Like I'd never been to a show out that way before.
Yeah, we went to dinner with him that night.
I sat across from her. Gosh, guys,
that's
come
right.
on.
Everybody was just so nice, just chatting and meeting each other. And I'm a totally new face, and people are like, "Hey, you're new here. What's up?" And it was really awesome.
Once you're in, you're in.
Once you're behind the table, you're part of the family.
Yep.
It's like a really bad mafia.
I love it.
I definitely think you should try to make it to the Slidell show. That is another one that is
yes,
insane.
That's another one that I definitely would love to go to for sure.
But yeah, it's like I said, I just had to say something for Blake because he's such a great guy, and I hope that everybody can help him out.
And we can definitely, because I know they had the group open, like people can join the group.
Yeah,
so we can share it on our discussion page.
So yeah, there was that. So I wanted to make sure I got that brought up.
Talking to the microphone, James.
I'm talking straight into the microphone.
It didn't sound like you were.
I 100% am.
Nah.
Let's go through our Facebook page. Oh, so last week I wanted to talk about this. Travis had posted a scientific article on UV light and snakes and certain adaptations to UV light. And Travis knows I'm not going to fucking read that. It's like several pages of scientific stuff. And I had to do that to graduate college. I'm not doing it now for fun. So he did find me a short abridged version of that. And it basically said that diurnal snakes that hunt during the day, have actually evolved their eyes to be able to, basically like sunglasses, block out UV light, where nocturnal snakes don't have as much. And it got me thinking that, we're all on this kick. It's not really a kick. But this idea of all of our reptiles need UV light. And I'm not, before anybody gets anywhere, I'm not saying reptiles don't need UV light. But there's also the camp that says snakes don't need it. They're fine. I think there's a medium. And Travis and I talked about this. I think that maybe we're overdoing UV light in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to snake, because anybody that has gone herping knows that snakes don't sit out in the sunlight all day long. So maybe turning your UV light on for your snake for 12 hours a day is too much. Because snakes usually lay out for maybe 30 minutes to an hour in the morning, 30 minutes to an hour in the evening, and they're usually in the shade, out of the way the rest of the day, so they don't overheat and all that. And so it got me thinking that these adaptations of dealing with UV lights, because they're not supposed to take in that much UV. They have a little bit of protection on their eyes so they can see. Just how do you think that the way that we should give UV light to your snakes maybe should not be the way we do it all the time? People that put UV lights 24 hours on their animals. So I just wanted to say that I saw that thing that Travis posted, and he sent me the little abridged version because he knew I wasn't going to read.
So they make these things that you can use to monitor the amount of UV light that your animals get.
Yeah, it'll tell you.
Couldn't you just use one of those, and then once they've hit that amount that they need for X number of time, just turn the light off?
Yeah, but that's not how that works.
Oh.
That's a device you have to hold. You can measure at the moment how much is going there. Your best bet is to put your light on a timer, run it for an hour in the morning.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me like if the light bulb is putting out 90% now, it's not putting out 90% an hour from now?
No, it's putting out 90% the entire time. Or
Yeah.
whatever it is. But you don't want to run the UV light for 12 hours.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if you know that your snake should only get UV for 3 hours at whatever percentage, after it hits that mark, just turn it off.
Are you going to sit there all day and measure it?
You don't have to measure the whole time.
A timer.
Oh my God. We're not understanding each other.
No, I don't think you understand the process.
Oh, well.
A timer, though. UV light on a timer for like...
Well, do all UV lights put out the same amount of UV?
No.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, but that's because some UV lights just suck. Some of the commercial ones you can buy off the shelf at a pet store are fucking horrible. They don't give off UVB, which is what you need.
So once you have a bulb that you know is putting out the amount you need...
Such as a VivTech LED UVB bulb.
I've seen tremendous changes in ours, by the way, since we've got our animals.
Our bearded is love being
The bearded dragon, she just seems to be thriving.
Her color's
so
much better now underneath that
much
UV
better
light.
under that UV light, which makes me feel like a horrible pet parent. But I mean, I guess a timer would work.
A timer is not that it would work, is the way.
Just turn it off.
But you're gonna go to work.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
There we go. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same.
Shut up. I'm gonna go back
That's
to
why we have
grading.
smart plugs. You can turn them off from your phone.
Uh-huh. That's right. I'm gonna go back to grading my artwork.
Your artwork.
Yeah, that my students had to make a poster, create a poster for a type of community, a suburban, an urban, or a rural community, and I have to be able to look at it and tell what it is.
How many times did you mispronounce rural?
I can say it better than some of my students. Let's just put it that way.
Not surprised.
But like some of them wrote the name of their community on their poster, so they're losing points because they didn't follow directions.
So I posted a video that I saw on Facebook on our discussion page of the emerald tree boa giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
That is the weirdest damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
The baby comes out and then starts to perch on the mom, like immediately starts perching.
Perfectly too.
Yes.
It's so, and the problem is it didn't come out like, it came out like tail and head with body still left in, and then just like, it's the weirdest
Very
thing.
awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought there was two of them at first. I was like, what is happening here?
And in great boa fashion, it was very gooey. They are a gooey birth. All your definitely South American boas for sure. Sand boas not so much, but your South American boas. And then in Yazoo County, Mississippi, there was an amazing.
I know where that is.
I know where that is. Timber rattler found.
Yeah, and I found out later that rattler was captured and is now in captivity.
And it's most likely
That was just found.
Albino, yeah,
it's most likely a T positive.
I believe so.
I believe
That's
so.
what Travis said.
Based off the picture.
I tried to get him to get in the argument, but he wasn't having it. 'Cause there was probably
No time for
30
real
people calling it
foolishness.
leucistic.
I love everybody. That's something. There was another something that was posted. Someone posted a picture of an albino cottonmouth that I commented on, but there were several on there. It's leucistic. I'm like, people don't know what that word means.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to be that person because that's why you have
White.
me on this podcast. Why collect it?
So you can breed and make more of them.
Like, that's really the only reason?
And the chances of it having a long, full life in the wild as an albino are pretty slim.
It's definitely not supposed to be out in the sunlight all the time.
It's also not a full grown adult.
Yeah, it's young. It's like that albino cottonmouth that got caught in our, like a mile from here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I mean, plus people want to breed them. Same reason. I mean, Adeline's all about. She likes hot venomous snakes, and other people like venomous snakes. And if there's morphs, it's cool. And it's a really pretty snake. That timber.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Really
it was.
pretty snake.
I'm not even a big fan of that particular type of snake, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
I do know that. Oh, speaking of the Blake Wilson auction,
I
you
was
put
just
up
curious.
your new colubrid hatchling rack,
Mhm.
which is an awesome little rack. Uses little pencil tubs.
Yep.
Which are hard to find any racks that use little pencil tubs anymore. And it's great. It's like tabletop size. It's not a big rack.
Yeah, it's little.
Which would work
I'm
great for.
bringing 3 of them this weekend to the show.
Oh, sweet. So if you're at the show and
If the damn tubs, I have tubs for 2. One of which is already pre-order. So I'm actually bringing 4, 3 of which will be for sale. But my tubs were supposed to be here yesterday, and Amazon's like, "Oh, we lost your tubs. We'll get them to you in the next day or 2."
Oh my god, that makes me hurt.
and it will fit a 2x3 by 12 inch tub and a 2x6 by 12 inch tub.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a great little like quarantine when you're bringing baby snakes home from a show. You're bringing home like especially small colubrids, even small boas and stuff like that for quarantine. They'd be fine. Just going through. Oh, Nathan Holcomb posted a weird shrimp. I've seen this before. It's shrimp that can when it can clap its claw and cause the water to reach. It says, is it
Mantis shrimp?
No, it's not a mantis shrimp, which is also a really awesome one. Which is also not a shrimp. That's not a shrimp or a mantis. It's an own class. But
I didn't know that.
yeah,
They
this
started
one.
with the punching. I was like, that's the only thing I could think of offhand.
Yeah, the mantis shrimp can punch, and if you ever see them in an aquarium, they have to put them behind bulletproof glass because they can shatter it. This one has one big claw, and when it snaps it can superheat the water like 8,000 degrees is what it says here.
That's nuts.
I don't like talking about shrimp and water
Why?
because that stupid kid beat me at the science fair. I hold grudges.
Apparently from the science fair.
It was
Jesus
8th
Christ.
grade. 8th
My
grade.
God.
I fucking trained a tarantula to go through a maze. And then I shaved its legs to prove that they needed the hairs. And that fucking kid beat me at the science fair because he proved that shrimp jump on rough water. No fucking shit.
Hey.
We grew up on the coast.
Hey, all this salt's not good for your blood. A little salty there.
A little bit because he got to go to state and I did not.
That motherfucking kid's not a kid anymore now, so you
Well.
can just yell at me as an adult.
Mm.
You can find him on Facebook, probably.
I shaved a tarantula, guys. I should have gone to state.
Yeah, it's a pistol shrimp. That's what I'm saying. It's a
I've
pistol
never
shrimp.
heard of that. Oh, pistol shrimp?
Yeah.
It was fabulous. The lady at the pet store told me about it when she did it as a science fair project, and then I recreated said science fair project. And then the tarantula lived a long and happy life in a 4th grade classroom as a class pet. Not mine, but a different one.
One thing I wanted to go back to, it was way earlier in the chat. Darren Watson said, we're talking about the Herbst Reptile store and pet stores and all. He said it's tough to support local pet stores when purchasing reptiles because the price is double that of shows and Morph Market. I do purchase supplies and feeders from them. Yeah, I get that. I get that. In some cases, sometimes you can find good deals on them. But I mean, Morph Market doesn't have a brick and mortar that it's having to pay rent on and a power bill, and so that's a little different. Employees, yeah.
To it.
I guess as long as you're doing supplies and feeders, you are still supporting them, so that's good. And I will tell you, I saw the prices on the stuff at Sean's new shop. They're totally affordable. Like it's not. I've been to pet stores where it just damn, that's expensive. I can't afford anything here, but super affordable there. And I told him, I said, you're not really a pet store. You're a feeder store that happens to sell pet supplies and some animals.
I feel like there's a. Go ahead.
Sorry. There's quite a few good shops out there, though, that really want to take care of their customers.
Yes.
I mean, I've been to several, like a bunch of them, where, I mean, not a bunch, but I've been to several stores that were really well maintained. And, especially talking with the artwork and talking prices with them, they're like, oh, no, we want to take care of our customers. We want to be able to get them like the best deal that we can as well. So, I mean, I think it depends on where you're at location wise, but there definitely are some really good shops out there.
Well, there's definitely a growth of good quality reptile stores as well, because reptiles have always been looked as a disposable animal, and some of these pet stores they're shoved in a back corner in tanks that haven't been cleaned for weeks and they just look horrible.
Yeah.
But we've got, through the show now we have Sean's new shop in Bryan. You have No Drama Llama in
Kerrville,
Texas.
I don't know where it is, but it's Kerrville.
Near San Antonio. I know that direction. Right? I'm right. Near San Antonio?
Austin.
It's
No.
west of San Antonio,
West
about,
of
I'm just kidding.
about an hour west of San Antonio.
And then you have the Grants up in bumfuck Oklahoma.
and then you have
I can't remember where it's. I can remember where
And
he
we have
lives.
Wiregrass Exotics.
Yeah, Wiregrass
you have
Exotics.
Pet Den, Dennis, and them. They vend.
Pet Den, that's down in
It's in Nederland, Beaumont
near
area.
Beaumont. And then you talk about the bigger ones like Snake Discovery just opened up that amazing place. Riley, if you ever listen to Carpets and Coffee, he's working at a reptile store out in California.
Gecko World Austin.
Gecko World Austin.
Birdie Town, Josh, and
I feel like this is a game now. Like, how many
How
pet
many-
stores can we name?
Josh's boyfriend's
DFW
name.
too.
I can't remember.
I can see his face.
Yeah, DFW. That's
Yeah,
He wears
that's a big
glasses.
thing.
DFW is a good one.
I
And then,
can't
and
think
then
of
there's
his
the
name
old ones like
either.
there's like Twin Cities, which is a big one up there. So it's awesome to see these reptile stores, and on top of that, you've got something like Morph Market. When we talked about earlier, ordering snakes or animals from someone that you may not trust. The great thing about Morph Market is that it does give you kind of that extra feel of like, all right, they're vetted a little bit, or at least you can ask somebody about somebody on Morph Market. The only problem with Morph Market, if it's something rare and it gets posted, it's probably gone in the first like 30 minutes of being posted.
Mhm.
So that kind of sucks. You got to be quick. Put it on your phone and check it all the time.
Is that what you do when you send me snakes?
Yes, but I don't have any money right now, so now I'm just
What I was going to say is I feel like a lot of reptile stores are more feeder and supply stores.
that's what they all are.
That's how
and
you
that
make money.
just happen to carry reptiles.
Sure.
That's the money, yeah. Because a snake is a one-time purchase, but the food is a weekly or bi-weekly or bi-monthly or every month purchase.
Mhm.
Darren wasn't said all the pet stores I mentioned are 2 to 3 days away from. Sounds like Darren, you live in the wrong place. You can move to Texas like everyone else is doing, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard
It's hot here, though.
now.
So just move on down here. It's a great place. What was I gonna say? All right. So I do want to make our big announcement for next month. Since this is our last episode this month, I'm super excited.
Are we
about it.
drawing? Were we? No. They have 2 more days. Just kidding.
Yeah.
They have 2 more days for the drawing.
So I kind of had this idea while we were at Conroe, and I was able.
Oh, okay. I know what it is now.
What?
Go ahead.
He was trying to remember what you were talking about. Now it's your turn.
I was able to put together this whole thing, basically at Conroe between people there and all this. But October, we have themed out our 4 episodes of October. And I'm super excited. October is going to be Hottoberfest because it's going to be 4 episodes, all venomous related.
I feel like this was a moment for you to use something fancy
I know, I
on your
should've.
and
Let's-
you did
all right, I'm
not.
just gonna
Don't be loud. Don't be
I'm gonna
loud.
randomly hit one. I don't even know what the sound is.
God.
Oh, it's our
That's the
theme song.
intro.
Okay. I didn't know what it was.
You got to
No.
get better with this board
I know. I need these. Well, y'all yelled at me when I tried to do sound effects before.
because it was loud.
Yeah, well. But Hottoberfest. So I know I don't want to give out any names yet because things change and hopefully everything will work. But we will have a well-known hot vendor or breeder. We will have a person that is in the hobby as far as like, this can kind of give it away, but apparel and also doing other things with venomous outside of that. We're also going to have a doctor who deals with snake bites. There's like 2 of them. You can guess one of them. It's going to be one of the 2.
Flip a coin.
And then we're going to have a venom lab. So it's 4
I'm
different.
excited for that.
I'm super excited about that. Katie hates the name.
I don't
love it.
hate the name. I just feel like there should be a festival going on, and we're gonna call it a fest. I
Need
feel
a
like
lo-
it should
lo-
just be.
have a
It
little
should
hat.
just be Hottober.
If they can have Lobster Fest or whatever from All Red Lobster, we can have Hottoberfest. I got to make some sort of design or something to put up.
You
Need,
It
like, a
just
little
needs to
hat
be
with a little
Hottober.
beak and like a hat and a feather coming out of the hat with like lederhosen.
So when she gets really bored later, and she's like, "I'm gonna draw this,"
You can
I
get
got-
those shirts made with like little lederhosen like on it. Saying.
Oh, no.
I would probably
That's-
pay to see both if you wear
Yeah,
that. I'm
both.
just gonna throw that out
I
there.
guess it's better than like wearing a kilt and nothing underneath it. But so yeah,
be very
I need to
freeing
design
today.
a little logo for Hottoberfest. I got a couple days I can do that. I'll figure out something. But
Go
I'm super
for it.
excited. I'm super excited. All 4 episodes are venomous related. So even if you're not a venomous person, I think the 4 people I have lined up will be very interesting. One of them I know we will not get on to be able to shut the fuck up. So he will talk.
There may next week. I may be late to the party. I have open house at school, so I'm gonna get here
Boo.
as quick as I can.
Ooh. Okay.
But heads up.
Yeah, see, Darren says he needs to move there because in New Jersey you can't have venomous. You also need to move because you're in fucking New Jersey, Darren.
Jersey.
There's like
Yeah, but he can go visit the Quick Stop, so I'm a little jealous.
I think I'll forego being able to visit the Quick Stop to be able to not live in New Jersey.
Yeah, I'll just go visit.
Love it.
Oh, I think that's all. I feel like I had more to say, and I don't know what else I had to say.
I say we're pushing 2 hours, man.
We are.
Mhm.
I had to.
I've had to pee for the last like 45 minutes.
It's overrated. Peeing. It's not overrated.
I almost just got up and left, but you know.
I'm glad you didn't.
You
Almost
get a
just
Kiwi from the table.
Yeah, I am. I'm the farthest from the door, and I either have to go right in front of the camera or pray really hard when I go behind the camera that I'm not going to knock everything over.
I did have one thing. The Reptile Fight Club was about cycling or to not cycle your animals for breeding or whatever. And that kind of got tied into something I saw on a rubber boa page this past week. Anybody that owns rubber boas or knows about them knows that they come from an area where it gets very cold and they shut down for like 3 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year. And they just like literally if you've listened to this podcast, you realize I put mine through brumation last winter and it was fucking nerve wracking watching
I heard
ice
about it every day.
I know ice growing outside the tub. And these snakes are like,
And the
They're cool.
podcast people only got to hear about it once a week, whereas Robert and I live that shit every day.
it was horrifying. There was ice on the outside and on the inside of the tub, and both snakes were like, "No, we're good.
Yeah.
We'll just cruise around."
It was really strange to see, though. I will say that. Like, I went into the room one time and you could see the ice crystals
And I'm
on
yelling-
the tub.
And I'm yelling at them, "You're supposed to be asleep," and they're just around.
Cruising around the little tub like it ain't nothing.
Wow.
But in the group, someone asked if it was necessary to brumate your rubber boas. And there were definitely some that said, no, if you're not going to breed them, there's no reason to brumate them, yada, yada, yada. Don't do that. And that's probably true. You could probably be fine doing it that way. But there's a reason that around this time every year, they naturally quit eating. They want to go through that process. And when we talked to Nick Mutton, he talked about them possibly being one of the longest lived reptiles. They can live for a long time. And I imagine that has to do with the fact that they don't do shit for like 3 or 4 months out of the year. They just shut their body down completely. It's not like corn snakes down here or rat snakes that brumate and then on a warm day come out and they're cool. These things will shut down and not eat for months. So I think even if you're not breeding a snake like that, something that naturally goes through that kind of cycling, it's probably better for its overall health to go through that process. You know, a lot of us don't deal with that. If we deal with like tropical animals like boas and stuff, that's not a big deal with us because those things don't go through a true like brumation. You can cycle them through food cycling and all this kind of stuff. But when you have an animal that lives in a place that ice is over, it probably needs to shut down. Especially, like I said, my rubber boas, a couple of them have already stopped eating. They will not start eating probably again until I bring them out of brumation. They're not even in brumation yet, but when I bring them out in the end of February, then they'll finally eat again. They put themselves through it. So I saw that thing about cycling, and then I saw that question on the rubber boa thing, and I was like, I want to bring that up. I think that in some cases, just do it. Just I mean, for them, it's 3 months I don't have to feed snakes. I put them in a fridge, I ice them over for 3 months, and then I thaw them out at the end of February, and they start eating again. So I know y'all are gonna try and brumate your corn snakes, right?
Yep, probably all of our colubrids.
Yeah, we'll have to feed colubrids those things shit all the time. So
Yep. I won't feed like some of the really. I won't brumate some of the really young hognose, that are 3 months old.
Yeah,
but pretty much everything else, yeah, we'll get brumated.
Do you have anything up there that you have to go through that process? Because I think your monitors are going to be a tropical thing.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, so you luck out.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of friends go through that, and it makes me want to panic for them.
Yes.
It just sounds so nerve-wracking.
It goes against everything we're told when we're like, I want to get into reptiles. All right, keep them warm and feed them. All right, so this is what you're going to do for 3 months. You're going to freeze it and not feed it.
Yeah, we're not freezing it, but
I am.
You did,
I was gonna say
yeah. If there's ice crystals, then I'd consider it.
Yeah, because my guys have to get down to like the mid 40s.
Yeah.
And they're cool at the mid 40s. Shit, they were still like passing urates at the mid 40s.
Say they were still taking care of biological needs at that point.
John Grant's going
to cool his Gilas. Yeah, those guys drop down. That's right. John Grant just got a pair of Gilas. Fuck you, John Grant.
He just sent me a video of him feeding them.
I heard all about that, John Grant.
He probably felt like he didn't have any friends again, huh?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't as bad as the Aldabras. I'll say that.
I saw the Aldabras this past weekend.
Yeah, when
and
Sean
shocked.
got the Aldabras, James was like,
Well, no, it wasn't just the Aldabras.
And I got
It
a
was
Russian.
also-
I got a black
It was
Sambo.
also
Uh-huh.
y'all fucking me over and pretending like he got a Russian black Sambo when in reality it was mine.
it was
Yeah.
a super cool surprise, though.
It was, which is another one. He's not eating right now, and Russian black Russian Sambos are another one that you need to brewmate down into like the low 50s.
Oh, I didn't know
40s.
he had stopped.
And he may just be going in his shed. But when I go to breed Russians later on, I have to brewmate them the same way I do my rubbers and drop them down to what feels like an unnaturally low temperature for a snake, especially for a snake in the Samboa that will come up to 95 degrees during the summer, but will drop down into the 50s or 40s in the winter. So, anyways, that was me. All freaked out about brumation. It's not even here yet.
Soapbox.
It's not soapbox. It's just my feet.
9 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
9 o'clock
Robert
somewhere.
Stark.
I'm starting to yawn.
All
You're
right.
the only one that stays up past a
I know.
normal bedtime.
So, Adeline, if people want to get a hold of you, I know you're going to be at Tinley in 2 weeks, a week and a half.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for it.
But if people want to get a hold of you for any reason, maybe I need to get podcast stuff from you, which I will do at some point. But how can they get a hold of you?
So my website is AdelineRobinsonArt.com. There's commission information. I've got like logo information on there as well. Any questions at all, feel free to message me on my Facebook page or through Instagram or email, which is AdelineRobinsonArt@gmail.com. Pretty much anybody that messages me on my personal Facebook, I usually ask them just to hop on over to the business page because it's just so much easier to organize and like star all the files and everything. But yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
That's what I've started doing too. When people message me on my personal,
Yeah.
I've been asking them because it's just between Instagram and Facebook and email through the website, I get all these different avenues. And then when I'm trying to contact them to tell them it's ready or to ask them a question, I'm like, shit, how did I talk to them?
Yeah,
And
there's
I'm
a
like
lot.
trying to find, and
makes
some people are
sense.
texting me and,
So
That makes
many
a lot of sense,
platforms.
though.
hey, do
Yeah.
you get the people that like message you at midnight and like expect an answer right then?
Usually, a lot of people have been very cool about that, thankfully. And I work with quite a few folks overseas as well. So our time zone
That makes sense. Yeah.
completely flip flopped. So thankfully, like we all know we've got different things going on in our lives. And so, usually nobody, thankfully, has been in a super rush. Or if they're in a rush, they let me know. But yeah, I'll get messages at like any time.
Yeah, I've started to get, it just seems like all of a sudden, like midnight is the time to message me. Hey, I bought a rack and I have a question about the humidity. I'm in here working with the snakes now.
Yeah. Help me
Like,
right now.
Yeah.
All right, Robert. So, like you said, people can preferably reach out to you from one single platform. And what would you like that to be?
Either my Facebook page, which is Lone Star Reptile Racks, or through the website, which we've already said before.
LSReptileRacks.com.
Shut up, James. Just trying to avoid that.
All right, James. I'm sorry, Robert. I mean to cut you off.
But yeah, that's the two best ways.
Come out to Beaumont this weekend. Check out the rack.
Beaumont, yeah.
Check out the little tiny colubered hatchling rack, which I don't think will last long. There's gonna be 3 of them there. I'm pretty sure they will be sold by the end of Saturday. I'm pretty sure they'll be sold by mid.
I was thinking about lunch Saturday.
that one. I
Hopefully,
think-
I'd like to sell it all by lunch Saturday.
Hey, somebody come out and buy them all.
There
Everything.
you go. All right, James. People want to get a hold of you. What
It's
can they do?
Simply_serpents on Instagram or Simply Serpents on Facebook. I do want to remind everybody we do have a Patreon. I know we don't really have anything on Patreon. We probably need to put something on there. But if you could give us like $5 a month, it would help. That goes towards, again, we're going to try to do some more content, some more podcasts. I need to get a logo for this podcast. That's not free, as we discussed. So feel free to go over to our Patreon. That's the Reptile Gumbo podcast on
That was
Patreon.
very loud in my microphone. I apologize. I sniffed my nose.
You sniffed your own nose?
I,
It's better than sniffing somebody
I
else's nose.
sniffed with my nose. Shut up, James. Moving on. I'm getting tired.
So check out our Patreon. If you want to get a hold of us, it is the Reptile Gumbo podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com. Again, make sure you go check out our Facebook page so you can get into the drawing for the VivTech light bulbs. You have 2 days left.
Yep.
Hopefully I'll have this out in time for you to hear this. If not, sucks for you. But get it on there.
Whatever. You'll have this out probably later tonight.
Probably. And then next month is Hottoberfest.
Woo, woo.
we have a sponsor for that too. It's going to be venomous related. So you don't win a venomous snake, but it will be venomous related.
You do. It's very cool. Again, I'm sad I can't win.
So thanks everybody listening. Adeline, thank you for coming on. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you back down here at a herp show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm super, super excited.
That's great.
Don't go anywhere just yet. Hang out until we end the broadcast.
But everybody else, thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.